Chapter 1336. Miss Shui, hurry up and take a look. They're in the living room. There's nothing we can do. Shui Mingqi frowned. Since when did the two of them get together? Didn't they have a falling out previously? Didn't their collaboration go to waste? But that was many years ago. After that, they didn't contact each other for many years. Now that they were suddenly standing together, it was really a little strange. The two of them sat there, and the whole living room seemed very stifling. The helper went to pour some tea. Black Hawk raised his head and said, "Which one of you is in charge of this? Send someone over. Someone else, just hang around in front of me. Do you hear me?" When the helper heard that, she was so scared that she trembled. "Our Miss Shui is busy." The helper felt that her lie had been seen through. When she saw Black Hawk raise his eyes, she felt like she was going to die. Li Mingyu saw that and said, "Hey, Black Hawk, don't scare her. Look, she's just a helper, not Shui Mingqi. What kind of look is that? The last time you skinned her alive, you had that look in your eyes. It scared me to death. You're not going to skin her alive today, are you?" Duh. The helper was so scared that she almost peed her pants. Black Hawk glared at her. "Why do you have so much nonsense to say? Io, don't look at me. When you look at me, I'm going to be scared to death." Li Mingyu pretended to be scared. The helper hurriedly said, "I'll go and inform Miss Shui." Inform Miss Shui. Trembling, the helper left. Shui Mingqi walked over and smiled. "It's really an honor for the two of you to come here. It's just that I don't know why the two of you are here." Black Hawk looked up and said, "Don't play dumb with me. Did you cause the incident at the kindergarten? My daughter is in class. If anything happens to her, let me tell you, I've never skinned someone alive before, but I don't mind giving it a try." Shui Mingqi felt a chill down her spine. However, he quickly came back to his senses. He was just saying it casually, he wouldn't really skin him alive. "What kindergarten? Don't get too worked up, Mr. Remote. Don't just jump to conclusions based on rumors like this. I know that Lin Shay is your sister, so you're definitely on her side, but you haven't known each other for long. It's not that I don't want to say this, but it's best if you're not careful and don't get used by others. This is an internal dispute within the Gu family. It's considered a civil war." Black Hawk curled his lips, his pitch-black eyes filled with cold mockery. "Are you trying to sow discord?" Shui Mingqi was worthy of being called Shui Mingqi. She was so good at talking. Every sentence she said was a trap. She even wanted to get rid of herself so cleanly. She had a look of carelessly mentioning it, but her sharp blade was directly aimed at Lin Shay. However, Black Hawk seemed to have seen through him. It would be a little difficult to drive a wedge between him and Lin Shay, because she did not understand them at all. How was that possible? "I'm driving a wedge between you. You are brother and sister. Why would I drive a wedge between you?" Black Hawk said. "Moreover, what are you talking about? This is an internal dispute within the Gu family. You should understand that I have a stake in the kindergarten. It's run by me and Lin Shay together. It has nothing to do with the Gu family. Now you came to my kindergarten to poison it and want us to return it to the Gu family. Do you think I can sit still? What if he had a stake in it?" Seeing this, Li Mingyu quickly joined in. "That's right. You're looking down on us. I invested a lot in it too. When did it belong to the Gu family?" Shui Mingqi was speechless again. They had investigated the background of the kindergarten, but they couldn't find anything. Since it was run by Lin Shay, it must be Gu Jing's money. He was so rich. How could he afford it? So they didn't investigate it further. But now they were telling her that the kindergarten belonged to the two people in front of her. What about her? Shui Mingqi rolled her eyes. "We just want Lin Shay to explain the funds for the kindergarten. We didn't say that it belongs to us." "Oh, we started it together. Why do we have to explain the funds to you?" Li Mingyu said. Shui Mingqi paused. "Well, I, Black Hawk, used my own money to run a kindergarten. Why do I have to explain the funds?" "I didn't." "Then what do you mean?" I don't care what you say now. I want you to give me an explanation." Shui Mingqi was completely speechless, because the two of them wouldn't let her say it anyway. In the end, Shui Mingqi apologized and saw them off. Black Hawk and Li Mingyu snorted and walked out. Shui Mingqi bit her lip in the back. Finally, after sending off the two of them, she turned around and gave her younger brother from the Gu family a slap. "Ouch, sister, why did you hit me?" Shui Mingqi turned around, her face ashen. Her fury was written all over her face. Why did we hit you? Oomph, you still have a nerve to say that? Why didn't we find out about the funds? It was all done by these people together. You actually didn't know, causing us to provoke these two people. We almost couldn't get rid of them. She had been humiliated for no reason. Just now, she apologized and gave them a lot of benefits before sending them off. Both of them were scoundrels. It wasn't easy to get rid of them. Only after giving them 2 pieces of land did they leave in satisfaction. He also promised them that they would apologize and that they would never do anything to the kindergarten again. She really wanted to tear down the kindergarten. However, there were so many people behind this small kindergarten that she naturally knew that she couldn't do anything. The servants outside sent the 2 of them away. After they left, Li Mingyu said, "This Xuemingqi is really powerful. She has supported the Gu family until now." Black Hawk said, "I don't think she's a threat. She can get rid of her sooner or later." Only then did he remember that he and Li Mingyu hadn't contacted each other for many years. Because they had cooperated and betrayed each other, it was basically a fight. Just now, Li Mingyu looked very familiar, as if he had forgotten how they almost killed each other in the past. I'll go back first." Blackhawk was the first to pull a long face. "Tisk, I'll go back too. But you don't have to look at me like that. How many years has it been? You are Lin Che's brother after all. I'm so close to Lin Che, I definitely won't mistreat you." Blackhawk rolled his eyes at him, as if he cared about him. However, since he was indeed on Lin Che's side, Blackhawk wouldn't continue to quarrel with him. Li Mingyu really felt that he could reconcile with many people for Lin Che. Moreover, he was Lin Che's brother. It couldn't be helped. Lin Che was just so charming. He had been waiting for Lin Che to come. Chapter 1337. Xuemingqi returned to her room and glared at the people in front of her angrily. Everyone was still rejoicing that Black Eagle and Li Mingyu had finally left. "Mengqi, it's better to clarify things in the future before you act. Just like today, you offended someone you shouldn't offend." Xuemingqi listened to the nagging relatives and looked up. "Grandpa Fan, there are still people who shouldn't be offended in front of the Gu family. I'm not saying that kind of people are not to be trifled with. I'm saying look at these 2 people. If you fight with them, it's like hurting the enemy by 1,000 and hurting yourself by 800. They usually have no bottom line. What's the point of fighting with them?" "That's right." Someone else agreed. "Let's forget about this kindergarten. It's just a small kindergarten. I didn't expect Lin Che to be so capable." "That's right. Normal people wouldn't think of this. Think about it. Start with these children and slowly nurture them. They'll all be our people in the future. Moreover, because of these children, the adults will be on good terms with them. Don't you think so?" "That's right. That's how connections are made. No wonder Lin Che can hold on to Gu Jingze so tightly. That's how she is. Li Mingyu is so close to her. They used to be enemies, but now they've become friends." Xuemingqi heard them speaking to Lin Che. The anger in her heart was about to burn her rationality. If things continued to develop like this, would they regret splitting from the family? No. Xuemingqi thought that she had to do something. "Actually, we don't need to innovate. No matter what, if they can do it, we can do it too." Xuemingqi smiled. "If she can do it with her little influence, of course we can. Why don't we just do whatever she does in the future?" "That's degrading." The relatives still wanted to save face. Xuemingqi smiled. "This is the simplest and the least likely to go wrong. She won't be able to do anything to us. If we take away her job, she can only be anxious." Everyone thought about it and agreed. Xuemingqi smiled. "Lin Che is nothing. With the power of the Gu family, what can't we do?" On the other side, Lin Che felt very tired after finishing the kindergarten. Seeing that the kindergarten had regained much of its liveliness, he felt a little more comforted. Some of the parents were still curious, not knowing what had happened. In order to comfort these parents, the teachers also put in some effort. Lin Che felt a little tired, so he dismissed everyone. "Dong, you don't have to follow me. I'll walk by myself." Dongzi said, "Miss, will it be dangerous?" "Don't worry, I'm wearing a disguise. No one will see me." There were always so many people following him, and he wanted to relax occasionally. Dongzi had no choice but to nod his head. Lin Che wore a hat and a mask. He walked on the road and looked to the side. The children had just finished school. Some parents were waiting there, chatting as they prepared to pick up their children. For a moment, the sky changed. It seemed like it was going to rain. Rumbling sounds of thunder could be heard. Lin Che looked at it, put on his hat, and continued walking. If she hadn't met Gu Jingze, she might have married an ordinary man and lived a peaceful life because of the Lin family. Actually, this kind of peaceful life was also very good, but without Gu Jingze, she thought about waking up next to another man and eating with another man. She felt that this kind of life was unbearable, so she decided not to think about it. She chose the present. She chose Gu Jingze. Then, she could bear all the tiredness. Just then, she saw a man nagging at his wife. "Look at you. You're a few minutes late and didn't pick up the children." The woman said indignantly, "It's just a few minutes. It's going to rain soon. What if the children get wet in a few minutes? It'll be hard to walk after it rains." "It hasn't rained yet. You have nothing to do at home every day. It's just a few minutes. Can't you come earlier?" "Why do I have nothing to do at home? Other than go to work, you leave everything to me." "Huh, isn't it tiring to earn money? Come and try to raise a family. Try to take care of the children. There are so many trivial things." "Humph, let me tell you, you can't stand it after one day." "Hey, what trivial things? You'll be fine after the children go to kindergarten." "Humph, I can't talk to you." The two of them quarreled as they went to pick up the children. Lin Che looked at their backs and thought, maybe this isn't peaceful, that although she always felt that she was useless, Gu Jingze had always thought that she was a good person. He would never bear to let her do anything, and he would never scold her like this. In comparison, Gu Jingze was really different from other men. Other men seemed to think that women did nothing every day, but Gu Jingze always thought that she was really tired when she did something. She shook her head helplessly. In the end, Gu Jingze was still too good to her. Lin Che thought, and felt even more amused. At this time, bean-sized raindrops fell from the sky, hitting his face so hard that it hurt. Lin Che hurriedly walked forward. Her phone rang. It was Gu Jingze. She quickly picked up the phone. "Lin Che, it's raining. Dongzi said that you went out for a walk. Did you not bring an umbrella?" Lin Che nodded. "Yes, I didn't bring one." After a moment of silence, Gu Jingze said, "Where are you? I'll go and pick you up." "Near the Wanhong building." "Okay, I'll be right there." Lin Che stood there and waited. After a while, a low-key Mercedes drove over. Gu Jingze got out of the car. Lin Che didn't remember having this car at home. It looked like it was only 1,000,000 yuan. It couldn't be Gu Jingze's. "Where did you get this car?" she asked. Gu Jingze closed the car door. "It's Sheen House." Okay. Outsiders would be envious of Gu Jingze's assistant for driving such 1,000,000 yuan car. However, Qin had been by Gu Jingze's side for so many years, so he still had a net worth. Gu Jingze opened the umbrella and said, "Are we going back now?" Lin Che said, "No. We're out anyway. It's rare that they aren't following us. Let's walk." Walking in the rain was also a kind of feeling. Gu Jingze smiled. Holding the umbrella, he hugged her and walked forward. Lin Che leaned into his embrace. She felt that his scent seemed to be stronger in the rain. She glanced sideways and saw that the rain was falling on his shoulders. Because the umbrella was tilted more towards her side, she wasn't wet at all, but his was. The rain became even heavier in an instant. She said, "Let's find a place to hide." Chapter 1338. The car was already far away, and they would probably get wet if they went back. Lin Che saw a huge internet cafe over there. She called out, "Let's go inside." Gu Jingze's hand was pulled into the cafe. Gu Jingze looked around. There weren't many people here, and the decorations were exquisite, but he couldn't take a closer look. It had a little smell that made it seem like a place with a lot of people. Lin Che took a look and went to apply for an ID card. 2 people. "Okay, do you want to recharge your card?" "I don't need it, thanks." The cashier looked up and glanced at her. She felt that she looked familiar in her sunglasses, but she didn't notice anything else. She looked down at the ID card and gave it to the 2 people. But before she left, she said, "That girl is so pretty. She looks like a celebrity." Then she looked at the person whose ID card was scanned out. Lin Che. "What? Was that for real?" The staff was a little shocked. The 2 of them asked for a private room and sat down. Lin Che said, "Not bad. It's quite clean here. Gu Jingzi said, "Are you kidding?" He could clearly smell the smell of smoke, and it was clean. Lin Shay said, "Don't worry. You haven't seen the old internet cafes. They were ugly. This one is clean enough." Sitting down, Lin Shay smiled and said, "Why don't we play a game? Whoever loses has to go to the opposite room and confess." "What do you think?" "Confess?" Gu Jingzi looked at her. "Just say you want to confess." What did he mean? Did he mean that she would definitely lose? Lin Shay raised his fist. "Humph. You can't be good at all games. Just you wait." The two of them looked at each other and smiled. Lin Shay immediately turned on the computer and played a game. This time, it wasn't his own game. It was a small game, dance machine. It was a manual dance machine. Lin Shay said, "Humph, let's try." Lin Shay went up and started playing. Lin Shay was very good at this game when he was young, so he chose it first. However, Gu Jingzi took a look at the screen and sat down. Then, he started to play. Lin Shay glanced sideways. Gu Jingzi's hand speed, holy shit, I can't even see my fingers anymore. Lin Shay rolled his eyes and hurriedly said, we're just here to give it a try. I think this is too easy. Let's change to another game." Gu Jingzi looked at her and smiled dotingly. "Okay." Lin Shay immediately started searching again and soon found a small game. "Please close your eyes when it gets dark." Lin Shay chuckled. This definitely wasn't a test of hand speed. She looked at Gu Jingzi. "Why are your hands so fast?" Gu Jingzi said, "I learned piano for a few years when I was young. It's nothing compared to piano." "All right." Lin Shay thought to himself, "Let's see what you can do this time, since I've chosen one that doesn't require hand speed." After opening it, he went straight in. She didn't explain the rules to Gu Jingzi. She said directly, "Whoever loses has to confess." "All right, there's no need to watch anymore. Let's play by ourselves. Please close your eyes when it's dark." This was the werewolf kill that many people often played nowadays. Back in the day, many people played this game, and there were still some loyal players killing time in it. All of a sudden, the players started talking. Some jumped the police, some were onlookers, and some were rioters. Of course, there were also people like Gu Jingzi, who entered the game without saying a word. Those who didn't speak were usually treated as police officers or killers. All of a sudden, someone said in the first round, "There's someone who doesn't speak. I think he's the murderer. Vote for him." The others naturally responded. Anyway, they wouldn't lose anything if they voted for him. It wasn't that important to lose one or two people in the beginning. Lin Shay looked at the crowd. She couldn't see anything, and she didn't know what he was doing. Anyway, if he voted for him, he would win. So she immediately echoed, "Yes, yes. Vote for him. Vote for him." However, when it was time to vote, he realized that no one voted for him. Suddenly, it was the second round. This time, someone brought a vote and wanted to vote for him. She thought that there would be no more voices, but unexpectedly, at this moment, Gu Jingzi suddenly typed a string of words. C, F, G are the murderer, K, V, T are the police, and the rest are the crowd. All right, duh. All of a sudden, everyone was a little stunned. Lin Shay felt that something was wrong and immediately turned around. She saw the man beside her lightly pinching his chin. His confident look made people speechless. Annoying. Since he'd already found out, what was the point of playing? She immediately pouted. "I'm not playing anymore. I can't beat you in anything." Gu Jingzi smiled and turned around, pinching her cheek. "You want to beat me so badly." Lin Shay supported her chin and looked at him. "No, I just feel that I'm so defeated." Gu Jingzi said, "Then tell me, what can I do to make you not feel defeated?" Lin Shay rolled her eyes. "Then, go and confess to the other side." Gu Jingzi said, "You just want to see me make a fool of myself, right?" Lin Shay smiled brightly. Why would I? Why would I?" Gu Jingzi looked at it and stood up. "All right." Lin Shay looked at him. He really wanted to go. She immediately followed him happily, wanting to know how he was going to confess. Gu Jingzi usually didn't even know how to joke. How could he play this kind of game? Gu Jingzi walked over and knocked on the door. The door opened. There was also a couple inside. This kind of private room was usually used by couples to play together. It was more secretive and could be used to do private things. The people inside looked at Gu Jingze and paused slightly. Gu Jingze said, "Hello. Sorry to disturb you." Looking at Gu Jingze's handsome face, the two suddenly forgot how to speak. What? He's so handsome. He can't be a salesman, right? The girl thought. With such a handsome salesman, no matter what he was selling, she really wanted to buy it. But at this moment, Gu Jingze said softly, "My wife told me to confess. If I don't, she won't let me go home. I'm sorry, I can only confess. Madam, you're very beautiful. There must be many people who like you." The girl was stunned, and her face turned red. Wow, he said she was beautiful when he confessed that her heart started to beat faster. However, thinking back, what do you mean by his wife said that? He said it so seriously that, so he was joking with his wife. Lin Che was speechless when he saw this, and quickly ran over. Sorry, we were just joking." The girl inside took a look. She immediately screamed, "Wow, Lin Che." Chapter 1339. Lin Che had forgotten that he hadn't been wearing his glasses. Being discovered in an instant, Zhang Xian was stunned. Then, he realized that he wouldn't be able to see them anyway, so he smiled generously and said, "Oh, hello. Wow, it's really Lin Che." The girl jumped up excitedly. She looked at Lin Che quickly and took out her phone to ask if she could take a picture with him. Sure. Of course we can." Gu Jingze became the background. He smiled faintly with his hands in his pockets as he watched Lin Che interact with the fans. The man next to him didn't like to chase celebrities, but he noticed him immediately. He pulled his girlfriend and asked, "Oh, is Lin Che married?" Only then did the girl remember. She immediately looked up and said, "Marriage." She looked at Lin Che and Gu Jingze and then reacted. "Oh, you're married?" Lin Che looked up and looked at Gu Jingze. They had kept their marriage a secret for a long time because they didn't want to be so troublesome. However, if they were seen, they wouldn't want to hide it. "Yeah," Lin Che admitted it generously. The girl was even more surprised. She covered her mouth and said, "No way. We didn't say anything." "Yeah, we didn't say anything." Lin Che smiled. "Wow, I found such a big piece of gossip." "Oh my God, no, Lin Che, I won't tell anyone." "Did you keep your marriage a secret and don't want people to know?" Lin Che smiled and held Gu Jingze's arm. When the two of them leaned against each other intimately, it really made people feel that they were a good match and should be husband and wife. When she looked up at Gu Jingze, the smile in her eyes was filled with happiness. "No, I won't tell anyone if no one asks. Our marriage has nothing to do with my work." "Really? Then can I tell others?" "It doesn't matter. You just need to sell it to the news agency." "Of course not. I just want to tell my friend." Lin Che smiled. "Enjoy yourselves then. We'll leave first and won't disturb you." All right. You guys go ahead." The girl walked over and was still saying, so handsome. Lin Che's husband is so handsome." Gu Jingze looked back too. Oh, he was Lin Che's husband now. She had heard so many people call her Mrs. Gu. Now that she heard that he was Lin Che's husband, the feeling was really different. The two of them finished playing here and strolled back together. At this time, Yu Minmin sent her a document, saying that it was a script adapted from a new novel. Lin Che opened it and saw that it was a rather powerful novel. She had heard of the name before. She asked Yu Minmin on WeChat, "Should we accept this?" Yu Minmin said, "Take a look first. I think it's not bad. We can give it a try." It was a fantasy drama. This type of drama was more popular now. Moreover, this fantasy drama was different from the others. It wasn't the type that was especially xinxia. Instead, it was more of a brain-burning type. It was more about fighting. She flipped through it and put it away. Gu Jingze said, "What's wrong? Do you have another script to accept?" "Yeah, let me see." Lin Che showed it to him. Gu Jingze said, "It looks good." Lin Che said, "You said it wasn't bad when you saw the name. Immortal Concealment. Just by looking at the name, it doesn't seem that stupid." Tisk. However, Gu Jingze immediately saw another line of introduction. This was because these types of scripts would first mention something special about the plot. Hence, the script mentioned that there were 3 sex scenes. Gu Jingze's eyes darkened. Although it's not stupid, it's vulgar. I won't accept it. After saying that, Gu Jingze was about to delete it. What? Seeing that he had actually pressed the delete button, Lin Che panicked. What was going on? Why did he delete it so quickly? I haven't seen it yet. There's nothing to see. Let's go. Gu Jingze pulled her up and left. Lin Che was speechless. The rain had stopped, and the humid air made them feel very comfortable. They temporarily forgot about the busy work and walked home together. However, on the second day, when they reached the office, Yu Minmin said, "What do you think of the script? I found you a very popular male lead recently. He'll definitely be popular. This plot is very special. You can shoot a drama and a movie together. It'll definitely be a win-win situation." Lin Che said, really? That's amazing. Of course. Who knows, you might even get an award. But what? But Gu Jingze deleted it. He said that it's vulgar. Yu Minmin said gloomily, "No way. How is it vulgar? It's so good and it's so brain-draining. There are so many plots and climaxes. It's a great plot, and it doesn't drag at all." It was rare for Yu Minmin to have such a highly rated work. Suddenly, Lin Che felt a little reluctant. "Then send me another one." Okay. Go back and think about it carefully." "I will." Just then, someone rushed in from outside and almost knocked into them. When they looked up and saw Yu Minmin and Lin Che, they hurriedly said, Sorry, Sister Che." Yu Minmin said, "Why are you so flustered? What if you bump into someone in the office?" The person was speechless. "Don't talk about it. I don't know what happened to the new assistant of Chung Yuan-tu. He said that Chung Yuan-tu is acting like a big shot." Seriously, the new assistant was none other than Wu Yulian. Lin Che frowned. "What's going on?" On the other side, Wu Yulian said straightforwardly, "We are celebrities that you invited. How can we be treated like this?" Seriously. Wu Yulian had been an assistant for a few days. An assistant's job was more complicated. She mainly listened to the manager's instructions and took care of the artist's daily chores. Chung Yuan-tu had just debuted. Although he had some achievements, it was his first time having an assistant. In the past, he had always been taken care of by his manager. Hence, he didn't have much of an impression of an assistant. He just asked someone to order food and remind him of his schedule. Unexpectedly, Wu Yulian's goal wasn't to be an assistant. She wanted to be an artist. Hence, after joining the crew, she was especially interested in those famous artists and directors. Today, because they directly arranged for Chung Yuan-tu to stay in a different hotel, which was full of people, she immediately disagreed with the idea of staying here for the night. She wanted to interact with those people more. Why was she being isolated? What was the meaning of this? She was very unhappy and immediately started to act like a big shot. When the other party saw this, he explained to her, "We are only staying for 2 days. The suite over there has been vacated and we will give it to you. Just bear with it and understand each other." Don't try to lie to me. Even if you let us stay, you won't allow us to go to that hotel tomorrow. How do we offend you? You want to isolate us? Don't play such tricks in front of me. No, we won't stay here. Chapter 1340. Wu Lulian was furious. There were celebrities too. Why do they have to be sent to other places? Actually, after being an assistant for a few days, she really felt that this celebrity was so humble because she wasn't popular. She wasn't like Lin Che at all. Wherever he went, people would compliment him. She really couldn't accept it. She even said to Chung Yuan-tu, "Look at you. He's a celebrity too. You're also a celebrity. How can you be so disappointing? You don't need to care about other people's opinions." However, Chung Yuan said, "Only by being humble can we survive. The bigger the celebrity, the more humble they are." Wu Lulian didn't believe it. It was just that he wasn't popular enough. Then why isn't Lin Che like this? Wu Lulian said, "Don't you know how humble Sis Che is to outsiders? But Sis Che's current status is sufficient. So, no matter how humble she tries to be, others will still flatter her and be afraid of her. You won't be able to feel it. But when have you ever seen Sis Che act like a big shot? No, she's not like that. Don't think that I don't know her." Wu Lulian felt that being a celebrity was much more useless than she had thought. So, she thought to herself, if you don't live up to expectations, I have to live up to expectations. I'm a celebrity after all. Why should I care about other people's opinions? So, she immediately started arguing with the production crew. The production crew looked at Wu Lu Yin speechlessly. Think of a way then. I can only do this. There really aren't any rooms there. You. I have to tell the director. Hey, the director doesn't care about everything. Why do you have to go to the director for such a small matter? The production crew was speechless. They had no choice but to get someone to look for Lin Che's agency. They said that the assistant here was too arrogant and they couldn't afford it. Cheng Yuanta didn't know about this. Meanwhile, Lin Che had already heard the news. Yu Minmin called Lin Che. This Wu Lu Yin is really arrogant. She offended the production crew just like that. It's only been a few days. Lin Che said, she will ruin Cheng Yuantu's future. If her reputation in the industry is bad, it will spread easily. Yeah, forget it. I'll go and take a look. Are you going there yourself? Yu Minmin asked. Lin Che said, I was the one who sent him. If I don't go, I'll be harming Cheng Yuantu. Okay, I'll go over for a while. All right. Half an hour later, Lin Che arrived at the set. The crew members were still discussing. There were indeed quite a lot of people in the industry, but since he had encountered one, he had to give it a good roast. At this moment, someone outside said, Lin Che is here. Lin Che had arrived. They reported the matter to Lin Che's studio, but they didn't expect that Lin Che would be alarmed. All of a sudden, they rushed out to see what was going on. When Lin Che arrived, he first went to look for Wu Lilian. Upon hearing that Lin Che was here, Wu Lilian thought that she was here to seek justice for Cheng Yuantu. She hurriedly said, I knew it. Our studio wouldn't let you off so easily. How dare you bully us like this? However, the moment she stepped out, she saw Lin Che looking at Wu Lilian with a taut face. You have to come with me to the set to apologize. Wu Lilian was stunned. She thought that she had heard wrongly. What? Lin Che said straightforwardly. Let's go. Because of your bad attitude, you have delayed the set's schedule. So, you have to come with me to apologize. This time, Wu Lilian knew that she hadn't heard wrongly. But what did that mean? No way. Sister, how they treat us. They bullied us like this. Aren't they not giving you face? What did you say? You want me to go and apologize? I'm not going. Lin Che lowered his voice. His expression was stern and cold. In an instant, Wu Lilian felt a little scared. However, she was a relative after all. She probably wouldn't do anything to her. Although Lin Che was really powerful and felt that it was extremely easy for him to kill someone, she didn't think that he would really do anything to her. Wu Lilian was a little afraid. She looked at Lin Che and said, Sister Che, let's go. Lin Che didn't waste any time and just glanced at her. Wu Lilian hurriedly followed him. At the set, Lin Che went in and a few people came forward to welcome him. Sister Che, why are you here? Why didn't you inform us? Look at the mess here. Lin Che smiled at them and said, Sorry for wasting your time. I heard that something happened to one of our artists, so I brought someone over to apologize. Everyone looked at Lin Che in surprise. They all said that Lin Che's studio was reliable. They didn't expect that Lin Che would personally come over to apologize when there was a problem with his assistant. No wonder he had such a good reputation. Wu Lilian looked at them from behind and was very unhappy. She stood there with a look of reluctance. I'm sorry. The few of them could tell that she was unwilling. However, since Lin Che had already come personally, they didn't have any complaints. They only thought to themselves that this rat shit had almost ruined the reputation of Lin Che's studio. Luckily, Lin Che was considerate and had a high EQ. Everyone said, It's okay. She's a newcomer. She doesn't understand yet. She'll get better in the future. After Lin Che apologized, he left with Wu Lilian. When they were outside, he said to Wu Lilian, Don't come to the set for now. It's better for you to go back and reflect on yourself. Wu Lilian said, Sister, don't do it. I'll really do it well. I won't do it again. Asking her to leave the set. It wasn't easy for her to get close to this place, and she hadn't gotten anything yet. Lin Che said, What else can I do? Look at you. You don't know anything. This won't do. I'll learn slowly. Really, I won't quarrel with others anymore. I know I was wrong. Lin Che narrowed his eyes and looked at her. If you really know, then go back and reflect on yourself for a few days. If your attitude is okay, then come back. Wu Yulian still wanted to say something. This is the bottom line. If you do something wrong, you will be punished, Lin Che added. Hearing this, Wu Yulian could only grit her teeth and agree. However, when she went back, she immediately threw herself into Su Fan's arms and cried. This Lin Che doesn't care about our family at all. He wants me to come back and reflect on myself. It's so embarrassing. How could he do this to me? I didn't do anything wrong, but he wants me to come back and reflect on myself. All right. Take your time and tell me what happened. Wu Yulian told her what had happened. Su Fan said, What should we do? Lin Che went to apologize. It looks like it's quite important. It's probably not easy to be a celebrity. You better think about it. Impossible. Lin Che is just timid. Haven't you seen how big the other celebrities are? Su Fan couldn't win against her in an argument. She could only comfort her. Then it's because they're not big enough. Wu Yulian thought that when she went back, she would work hard again. This time, she would definitely climb up. She wouldn't have to be dependent on others in the future. Chapter 1341. Wu Lulian returned to the set after a few days. This time, she was much more careful. Cheng Yuantu had already moved to the hotel where the crew was staying. Wu Lulian arrived at the hotel immediately and checked in happily. Naturally, the assistant's room was different from the actors. Wu Lulian shared a room with another assistant. The assistant knew about the relationship between Wu Lulian and Lin Che because Wu Lulian had bragged about it a long time ago. She also knew that Wu Lulian had been punished to face the wall and reflect on her actions. However, Wu Lulian was here again. After all, he was her relative. If it was another assistant. However, there were no bad assistants in the studio. They were very strict when choosing. Hence, she did not have a good relationship with the assistant, and Wu Lulian could not be bothered with her. You have no ambition. I wish you the rest of your life as an assistant. Wu Lulian snorted as she looked at the assistant's back. She found out which room the director was staying in. Seeing that the assistant had gone to take a shower, she changed into a translucent outfit and went straight to the director's room. Who is it? The director asked when he heard the door being opened. Director, are you asleep? I'm here to bring you some fruits. She had already prepared some fruits. In fact, she had even prepared herself for the director. The director was very familiar with such things. He opened the door slightly and saw that it was a girl he did not know. He did not want to give her any face. What are you doing? Director, I am Lin Che's assistant. She blinked her eyes, coquettishly revealing half of her chaotic origin. That young lady's fragrance was indeed tempting. As the director looked at her, his lower body was indeed unbearable. However, he was worried that he would be tricked. Lin Che's assistant? Who can prove it? The people in Lin Che's studio were very reliable and serious. When did they have such an assistant? Wu Lulian said, Actually, Lin Che and I are sisters. She is the sister of my third aunt. I just came from another city to seek refuge with her. Lin Che's sister. The director looked slightly indifferent. Go back first. I'm not wearing any clothes, so I will not let you in. I will leave the fruits here. In this industry, one was very worried about being schemed against. However, it was hard to reject someone who had come knocking on his door. Wu Lulian was a little disappointed. However, with the previous lesson, she did not dare to be too aggressive. He hurriedly threw down the things and left. After the director went back, the male body was a little irritated. Seriously, he came over to seduce her, but he couldn't. It was too torturous. The next day, the director asked someone to find out if this Wu Lulian was Lin Che's relative. The other party quickly replied, Indeed, but Lin Che was directly thrown here to be an assistant. I don't know what he wants. Wasn't it easy for his sister to debut? Why was she thrown here to be an assistant? The director smiled, indicating that he understood. The next day, he took the initiative to give her some hints. Before he left work, he specially went to Cheng Yuantu's place to chat with him before he said to Wu Yulian, The fruits you gave me yesterday were not bad. Thank you. Although Wu Yulian wasn't smart, she immediately understood. At night, Wu Yulian directly ran over. In an instant, she was on the director's bed. Because it was her first time, the director was shocked. Although he felt that he was very vain and this girl was too young, He was also worried that she would be pestered by others. At that moment, he only wanted to quickly avoid her and did not dare to see her at all. After hiding for a few days, when Wu Lilian first returned, she saw the junior assistant, who was very pleased with herself. Especially when the junior assistant looked at her strangely and asked, "You didn't come back last night. Where did you go?" Wu Lilian said, "What's so good about staying here? I like to stay in a suite. This place is quite good. It's so good that it's near B City. Haven't you been to other filming locations? They're deep in the mountains and wild forests." Wu Lilian said, "Haha, I don't want to suffer like that." Lying there, Wu Lilian was still dreaming of a meteoric rise and a beautiful dream of becoming famous overnight. Then, she thought that the director would continuously look for her and give her a role or something. Unexpectedly, the director took a leave of absence for a few days and directly let another assistant director film the scenes. She called the director again, but he did not pick up at all. This time, Wu Lilian was anxious. Immediately, there was an uproar in the filming location. "Where is the director? I don't believe that he won't come again." Wu Lilian asked an assistant director of the filming location. Actually, the news that Wu Lilian had fallen in love with the director had already spread far and wide. There were no secrets in this industry. The entire filming crew was staying in the same hotel. How could they not find out who went to sleep at someone else's place at night? There would definitely be someone who would run into it. Moreover, they were so loud that the people next door could hear them. However, everyone knew very well that no one wanted to offend the director. Now, the assistant director was cursing in his heart. This director had nothing better to do than to run away after he was done with her and let them take the bullet. However, he had no choice but to appease her and say, "Don't mess around. The director has been sick these few days. I don't believe you. Hurry up and find him for me. Didn't I say it already? I don't care. If you don't find him, I won't leave here." The assistant director was really helpless. However, he did not expect that she was really stubborn in this aspect. She would not leave even if she stayed here. Naturally, the news spread even further in an instant. Not long after, even the director's wife knew about it. The director's wife came directly to the filming location. The director's wife was also in the industry. Wu Lilian did not know what kind of shrew she had messed with. The director had been in this industry for many years and had caused many troubles outside. However, he did not divorce because his wife was as powerful as she could be. She had him under her thumb. Every time something happened, she would be the one to step in. All of a sudden, as soon as she reached the filming location, she kicked Wu Lilian. After that, she came up and started tearing at her. "You little bitch. You dare to seduce anyone. How dare you knock on someone's door in the middle of the night? Don't you look at your face and you still want to be a star? You still want to be famous? Humph. Let me destroy your face. Let's see how you're going to seduce other people's husbands in the future." It hurts. Wu Lilian really could not beat her. Her face was immediately slashed. You're disfigured." She retreated in shock and held her face. When she looked at it, she saw that it was a big patch of blood. She immediately screamed, "Help! She killed someone and disfigured me. Is there anyone who can take care of this?" She immediately rushed out. She did not care if there were reporters outside. There were always a few reporters loitering outside the filming location. When they saw such a good topic, they immediately took pictures. Interesting, really interesting. Such a big filming location. Such a good story had not happened in a long time. Chapter 1342. All of a sudden, this matter blew up in the circle. The reporters had taken pictures. For the sake of their reputation, the production team had spent a lot of money to buy photos. He didn't want the reporters to leak it out. Actually, it was useless for the reporters to expose it. The director, the assistant that he had slept with, and the director's wife, none of them were big shots. Although it would be interesting to expose it, it might not be the focus of attention. It was better to ask for more money. But it had already spread around the circle, and it was no longer a secret. Most importantly, Wu Lilian's face was scratched, and she was admitted to the hospital, unable to leave. The director regretted it too. He shouldn't have done it without understanding the situation first. He thought that the girl wasn't someone important and she was from the industry. so he shouldn't have caused any trouble. Who knew that he would end up playing with a virgin? In the hospital, Wu Yulian cried loudly. Mom, look at my face. What should I do with my face? Will it leave a scar? The wound wasn't actually that big. The director's wife was quite a shrewd person. She had deliberately scratched a major part of her body, but it didn't really affect her appearance. Even if she sued for disfigurement and intentional injury, she might not win. But in the entertainment industry, a wound like this would make it impossible for her to become a celebrity no matter what. Moreover, Wu Yulian was only a 16-year-old girl. Of course, she would not be able to take it. Su Fun's heart ached. She looked at him and said, I told you to be careful. Look at you now. Su Fun was so angry that she wanted to cry. It was one thing for the child to be scratched, but now, that old man was playing with her. As a girl, how is she going to get married in the future? I don't care. I won't let that bitch go no matter what. Over there, Yu Minmin looked at Lin Che and said, now that she's your relative, she won't be famous, will she? Lin Che said, I'm not afraid of that. They say that I have a lot of relatives, but do you really think that all of them are like that? The people outside won't talk about it after a few days. I thought that they were going to cause trouble, but I didn't expect that they would really cause trouble this time. Yu Minmin laughed and said, I don't think he'll be able to stay this time. The corners of Lin Che's lips curled up slightly. Yeah. She had not expected them to cause any trouble. She had not expected Wu Yulian to be so capable. She had caused such a huge incident. In the hospital, Wu Yulian shouted that she wanted to sue that ugly woman to death. So far, the director of the production team had not come to ask about it. Only a few assistant directors of the production team had come to ask about it. I don't care, I don't care. I want to see the director. If he's alive, I want to see him. If he's dead, I want to see his corpse. If he dares to refuse to see me, I'll spread the news everywhere. Okay. Think about it. It's not good for you if you make a big fuss, right? It's not good for me, and it's even worse for you. Just you wait. I'm going to tell everyone how terrible your crew is, how you beat people up, and how you play with people's feelings. Either way, I'm going to tell everyone. The person who came was also very helpless. At this moment, Lin Che had arrived. Seeing that Lin Che had arrived, Wu Yulian immediately jumped off the bed. Sis, look at how badly they bullied me. My face is ruined. Lin Che looked at her and said, I only want to ask you, back then, who looked for whom first? Did he look for you, or did you look for him? Of course he was the one who found me. Wu Yulian lowered her head guiltily. Lin Che snorted, really? How'd he know her? There's so many people in the crew. She was just a small assistant. Wu Yulian wrung her hands and said, well, I gave him some fruits once, and then he. Lin Che sneered. That means that you were the one who teased him first. He has a wife. If you teased her husband, wouldn't he beat you up? He only broke your face. That's already letting him off lightly. What do you want me to do? Wu Yulian didn't expect Lin Che to say that. But she ruined my face. That's because she was in the right first. Sis, I'm your relative. Instead of helping me, you're going to help her now? Lin Che said, I'm helping myself, not my relatives. I can't go to the crew and help you indiscriminately. Because you're a mistress first and foremost. Do you understand? Mistress? This sentence made Wu Yulian even angrier. Lin Che, you're doing this on purpose. You just don't want to help me. What kind of relative are you? You're helping them, but not me. You even called me a mistress. Lin Che snorted. I was kind enough to entertain you and help you find a job in the crew to pay off your debts. It was you who challenged my bottom line time and time again. I've already done what I could. As a relative, I've already done my best. You could do whatever you want to do. Su Fan listened on the side, feeling embarrassed and helpless at the same time. She was much more timid than Wu Yulian. She wanted to speak up for her daughter, but was afraid of angering Lin Che. She stood there and looked at Lin Che pleadingly. Then what should Wu Yulian do? Tell me what to do. Lin Che said, you should be glad that this matter didn't appear in the newspapers because the crew didn't want to make a big deal out of it. Otherwise, you'd be famous all over the country by now. By then, no matter where you go, people will know about your past actions. Even if it didn't appear in the newspapers, the entire industry would know about it. It'd be impossible for you to continue working here in the future. What? Wu Yulian's heart sank. In an instant, she leaped up and dashed towards Lin Che. It's you? You're the one who stopped me. It must be because you don't want me to become a celebrity and steal your job. You want to be high and mighty and don't want your relatives to be better than you. If that's the case, you'll always be the best. Lin Che shook his head and looked at her. You're really scheming. However, Wu Yulian couldn't even touch her. A random person beside Lin Che pressed Wu Yulian onto the ground. Su Fan looked at these powerful people and said hurriedly, Let's go now. We'll move out of here. We can't afford to offend you, but we can at least hide from you. Lin Che, please let Yulian off. She's still a child and doesn't know any better. I'll bring her away immediately. Lin Che looked at her and said, Second aunt, I won't keep you then. She'll only learn bad things if she stays here. Why don't you go back to school? Yes. Su Fan hurriedly pulled Wu Yulian away. Wu Yulian was unwilling to leave no matter what. She shouted, I'm not leaving. I was wrong. Please give me another chance. You have so many connections. I'm sure you'll find a way. Wu Yulian really didn't want to leave. She hadn't even completed her task, and she was unwilling to leave just like that. However, would it be all right just because she said that she wouldn't leave? When they reached the villa, the Gu family had already packed their luggage for them. Are you in such a hurry to chase us away? Wu Yulian raised her head and looked at the villa. This was the first time she had stayed in such a high-class place, and it was also the first time she was served by servants. She really didn't want to leave. She would rather die than go back to that bungalow where even the toilet was so disgusting. I'm not leaving, Mom. Go and tell Lin Che not to chase us away, okay? Su Fan had no choice. Look at what you've done. I've already told you to behave yourself. Chapter 1343. The helper packed up really quickly. Seeing that the two of them had returned, she said, I'm done packing. You can leave now. Su Fan looked and saw that her things, including the household appliances she bought after coming to Bee City, were all thrown at the door. Her luggage was also there. It looked like she didn't even tidy it up properly before throwing it out. Su Fan said angrily, What are you doing? Who asked you to touch our things? Madam has ordered that you will move out today, so we place your things here, the helper said. Su Fan was furious, but she could only take her things. Lu Yin said, Sai, let's go. Seeing that there were so many of them, they wouldn't be able to defeat them. Moreover, this was their place, so they shouldn't stay here. However, Wu Yulian wasn't willing. Mom, we're not leaving. We're not moving out. Su Fan said, Look, they've already chased us out. What can we do if we don't leave? We're not leaving. Go and beg Lin Che again. I really won't mess around anymore. That's impossible. They've already chased us out. Let's just leave. No, I don't want to go back to the bungalow, and I don't want to go back to our small town. I want to stay in Bee City. I want to be a celebrity, and I want to live in a big villa. Mom, look, there's a bathtub here, so many nice clothes, such a nice bed, and the kitchen is so clean and big. Even the kitchen is bigger than our house. How can you bear to leave? Su Fan couldn't bear to leave either. These few days, she felt like she was in a dream. Wasn't this something that could only be found in heaven? But Lin Che used it every day. She wanted to live like this every day. It was clean and comfortable, but she couldn't. All right, we're going to close. Do as you please. Just then, the door closed behind them. Su Fan said angrily, Sai, you can't be so unreasonable. How can you chase us out without even telling us? Su Fan and Wu Yulian looked at their things, and Wu Yulian was so angry that she started crying. Su Fan couldn't do anything about it. She put her hands down and packed her things. She had to think about where to go tonight so that she wouldn't have to sleep on the streets. Just thinking about it gave her a headache. Lin Che finally got rid of this family. At home, Lin Che listened to the servant report that although they were unwilling, they had no other choice but to leave. Lin Che had already sent people to spread the word, saying that although she had arranged a lot of things for them, their children had caused a lot of trouble, so she had no choice but to let it go. She couldn't control them. They were too good at causing trouble. Her relatives would not be able to find fault with her. After all, she had already done her best. Wu Yuyin liked to do things on his own. After he was done, Lin Che leaned against the wall and continued to read the script that Yu Minmin had brought over. The script was really well written. It was written about how immortals from all walks of life would fight against each other. It was a Xinxia story, but it was written with great difficulty. It was very enjoyable to watch. Gu Jingzhen noticed that she was so engrossed in her reading, so he came over to have a look. "What are you looking at?" Lin Che said, "The script." Gu Jingzhen turned his head to take a look. The title was still very greasy. He immediately thought of the previous hint, bed scene. He said, "Didn't I tell you not to film it? Why are you still looking at it?" Lin Che looked up. "I think the script is very well written. Come and take a look." Lin Che passed the script to him. Gu Jingzhen did not want to look at it all. He did not care if it was good or not. He only felt that he was uncomfortable if there was a bed scene. In the past, no matter what Lin Che acted in, Gu Jingzhen had never watched it. Although he knew that it was work and that it was all fake, he still felt uncomfortable watching it. So he decided not to watch it and not think about it. If he didn't think about it, he could pretend that nothing happened. He did not want to interfere with her work at all, nor did he want to be a hindrance to her. However, he could not control his thoughts. Whenever he thought of her talking to another man in the film, he would feel unhappy. But now that he was looking at the script, he knew that she would have intimate scenes with another man these days. How could he not let his thoughts run wild? He might as well not take on this TV series. As he thought of this, he looked at her and said, "Maybe other scripts are better. I don't think this one is good. But I've seen it. It's really good." Lin Che naturally did not know what he was thinking. "How is it good?" "I don't think it's good from the inside out." "Oh, I just read it. You don't have the expertise in this field, so of course you don't understand." "This is a rare good script," Lin Che said. Gu Jing's delicate eyebrows deeply knitted together. "So you will definitely take on this TV series?" If it's possible, of course I will give it a try. But this TV series is too big. I don't think we can do it on our own. We will have to cooperate with another company." Lin Che was already calculating in her mind. Because there were so many people and the scene was huge, she guessed that their company would not be able to do it alone. Then she would have to cooperate with another company. Then, which company would be able to do it together? While Lin Che was still thinking, Gu Jing's face had already darkened. "No, you can't do this," Gu Jing said. Lin Che looked at him in surprise. Gu Jing never interfered with her work. "Why not? I said you can't do it, so you can't do it." Gu Jing pulled the script domineeringly and threw it into the dustbin at the side. "Hey, tell me clearly. Why not? Why did you throw my script?" He actually threw it into the dustbin. Lin Che quickly rummaged through the dustbin. "Gu Jing, how could you do this? Why did you throw my script away?" Gu Jing looked at her. "What kind of low-class stuff is that? You can do whatever you want." "Low-class?" Lin Che was shocked. "How is it low-class?" "It's so melodramatic," Gu Jing said. Lin Che stood there and looked at Gu Jing. For some reason, he felt that Gu Jing's tone was disdainful. Yes, the domestic environment was not good. Whether it was a TV series or a movie, they were all a level lower than Hollywood. Gu Jing had seen such great Hollywood movies and TV series, so when he looked at the domestic ones, he felt that they were low class. "Hey, how can you judge our TV series like that?" "Yes, we're very low class, but you have to know that we're still developing and need to move forward step by step. In a market economy, didn't you guys start off doing low-end stuff as well? Only when the industrial chain, funds, and consumption catch up can you guys do high-end stuff. Our film industry is the same, but it's just that we've just started." Chapter 1344. But as the boss, you should be able to guide them. Gu Jing's expressionless face was really hurtful. Lin Che felt wronged for some reason. Biting her lip, she stood there and looked at him. "Yeah, we're low class. If you want to be high class, go ahead. You don't know anything and only know how to talk nonsense." "Humph, it's fine if you look down on me. I'm not money. Do you expect everyone to like me?" "You." After Lin Che finished speaking, he walked up the stairs and left. "Come back, you woman." Gu Jingzhe wanted to follow, but saw that she had already slammed the door. What the hell? Gu Jingze sat down gloomily. He felt that he had been too impulsive just now. Thinking of her aggrieved expression just now, his heart ached. But then thinking of the bed scene, no, he just didn't want her to do it. He was stubborn now. He didn't want to think about it. He wanted to see if the script was more important in her heart, or if he was more important. Inside, Lin Che looked at the script. What was wrong with it? She felt that it was comparable to the American dramas. The American dramas were just more serious during filming, and the audience here wasn't that receptive, so it couldn't be so serious. But he actually said that she was low class. No wonder he never watched her dramas or any of her works. He probably felt that she was too low class, and he couldn't be bothered to watch it. But in the past, he knew that it was work, so he didn't care about it. But now, he directly wanted to control her work and make her high class. Lin Che felt even more wronged. At this moment, Yu Minmin called. Lin Che, how's the script going? It's very good, Lin Che said in a low voice. Hey, why do you sound like that? Yu Minmin realized that something was wrong with her. Lin Che said, Nothing. Is that the sound of nothing? Tell me what's wrong. Lin Che sighed. Nothing. I'm just in a bad mood. Let's go out for a drink. Huh? Just the two of us? If not, are you going to call your husband's team? Scram, of course not. Lin Che and Yu Minmin agreed to meet at a place. But when they arrived, they realized that Li Mingyu and Mu Firen were also here. Yu Minmin leaned against the wall and smiled. I can't bring my husband's team with me, but I can bring a few friends to have some tea and chat. Lin Che sat down. How did you and Li Mingyu? Li Mingyu said, What's wrong? I'm going to stay in Country C. Can't I get to know the president's wife? Yes, you're the best. Lin Che leaned against the wall. Because he was in a bad mood, he couldn't be bothered with him. The private room they were in was very secluded. Lin Che looked around and said, It's safe here, right? There won't be any paparazzi, right? I don't want to make a fool of myself by being photographed by paparazzi and then post it on the internet for the whole country to laugh at me. Yu Minmin smiled and said, Don't worry, this is Black Hawk's territory. There won't be any problems. Pooh. Mu Firen said, Is this Black Eagle's territory? Yu Minmin said, Do you think he only owns the Majestic Clubhouse? Let me tell you, 80% of the venues in B City belong to him. It's just that the theme is different, the decorations are different, and the facilities are different. Actually, he's the shareholder behind all of them. Okay, Mu Firen really didn't know. Now that she knew, she looked to the side awkwardly. Lin Che said, What's wrong? You haven't reconciled with Black Hawk yet. Mu Firen's expression became even more awkward. She looked to the side, but it couldn't hide the slight blush on her face. What are you talking about? What do you mean reconcile? Actually, these days, the two of them had eased up a lot. Black Hawk would come to her place whenever he was free, and she couldn't chase him away once he was there. She could only nudge the sparrow and let him stay inside for a while longer. But she couldn't figure out what she was thinking. It was as if there were two vile people constantly fighting there. One was calling for reconciliation, and the other was calling for principles. So the current situation was that, although she was unwilling, she still hadn't gotten rid of that shameless man. God, she really wanted to scream. What happened to Black Hawk being cold-blooded and heartless? Why was he so shameless when it came to her? Li Mingyu stared at Lin Che. What's wrong? Are you in a bad mood? Lin Che said, It's nothing. I'm used to quarreling. I'm just wondering if it's the 7-year itch. You and Gu Jingze can solve the 7-year itch? Why don't I believe it? He usually listens to everything you say. He's afraid of falling down when he holds you in his hands, and is afraid of melting when he holds you in his mouth. Lin Che glared at Yu Minmin. You don't even know how despicable he is in private. Humph. He's not despicable. He's more despicable in bed. Is it because he's too intense at night and made you angry? Yu Minmin laughed. Get lost. Lin Che picked up a pillow and threw it at him. Outside, when Lin Che and the others arrived, the people of Black Hawk had already discovered them. How could they not recognize Boss's sister, Boss's future wife? Immediately, someone told Black Hawk. Black Hawk was puzzled. Gu Jingze didn't come with him? It was a private gathering with Li Mingyu. Gu Jingze, that jealous person, didn't come. Little did they know that Gu Jingze was still sulking at home. When Gu Shinian came in with his sister, Gu Jingze was still reading. Hey, where's Mom? I don't know, Gu Jingze said angrily. Gu Shinian said to his sister, oh, they quarreled. Let's go play. Don't get involved. Duh. He felt like he was being looked down upon by a kid. Gu Jingze looked up and thought for a moment. Then, he looked at the empty room. In the end, he felt that there was no one he could contact, so he called Black Hawk. Hey, why did you call me? Did the sun rise from the west? Black Hawk said, oh, wrong number. I'm hanging up, Gu Jingze said coldly. Sigh, enough. You even called the wrong number. This kind of excuse is already outdated. Tell me, did you quarrel with Lin Shay? Hiss. It seemed like everyone knew about their quarrel. What's wrong? Gu Jingze asked. Nothing. It's just that Lin Shay is with Li Mingyu. Duh. Gu Jingze couldn't hold it in anymore. Where is he? In Flourishing City. A moment later, Gu Jingze rushed over. As soon as he entered, he realized he had been tricked. What did he mean by being with Li Mingyu? Then what were the people around them doing? Not to mention, the Black Hawk was there as well. Chapter 1345. Haing saw Gu Jingze walk in with a dark expression on his face. He smiled and waved. You're here. Seeing Gu Jingze glaring at him, he said, oh, right. I hung up before I finished talking. Lin Shay, Li Mingyu, and the rest of us are playing together. Gu Jingze gave Haing a look that said, you're dead meat. Then he saw Lin Shay. Lin Shay didn't expect him to come. She was already surprised that Haing came. These people didn't like to join in on the fun. Gu Jingze looked at her silently. Then, he found a seat and sat down. Yu Minmin couldn't help but smile when she saw the two of them walking away. They really quarreled. Yu Minmin said, it's rare to see so many people here. Why don't we play a game? What game? Don't tell me it's truth or dare or something. Li Mingyu said in disdain. Yu Minmin said, what's wrong with truth or dare? It's such a traditional game. It must be fun if so many people still like it. Yu Minmin wanted to play dice, but after hearing Li Mingyu's words, she decided to play truth or dare. Come, truth or dare. Whoever loses will either have to drink or choose truth or dare. The few of them came over. The table was already full of alcohol. Li Mingyu asked Haing for some more. It was his place anyway, so he shouldn't be so stingy. Haing was very generous. He brought out the best alcohol for everyone. Lin Shay held the dice and looked at Gu Jingze. He shook it as if it was his head. Damn you, Gu Jingze. How dare you come here? How dare you throw a tantrum here? I'll kill you. Everyone put down the dice. Lin Shay opened it. Oh, God is helping me. She's the biggest. It's a straight. Waha, I'm the biggest. I'm the biggest. The biggest one was in charge of setting the question. The others were all about the same size. Only Gu Jingze's was the smallest. Was it really arranged by the heavens? This is God's will. How dare you? Gu Jingze, anger me as you please. As Lin Shay thought to himself, he looked at Gu Jingze with a smug smile. Gu Jingze, do you choose truth or dare now? Tell me the truth. Gu Jingze looked at her deeply as if he wanted to see through her mind. Lin Shay laughed and said, all right, tell me, when was your first time masturbating? The dignified Gu Jingze had never been asked such a question. Yu Minmin burst out laughing. Lin Shay was definitely doing it on purpose. He was deliberately messing with Gu Jingze. However, in this world, apart from Lin Shay, no one would dare to mess with Gu Jingze like this, unless he wanted to die. Therefore, this was simply a rare scene. Upon seeing this, Yu Minmin hurriedly listened on curiously. Gu Jingze's face was as black as a sheet. She stared at Lin Shay, only to see Lin Shay raise his head proudly. Good, very good. This woman, he said, changed to dare. Ha, boring. Lin Shay could only shrug and not answer. But did he think that dare was so easy to pass? Lin Shay looked at him with a smile and said, all right, dare, right? Then I want you to take the initiative to seduce the Black Eagle. Puffed. This time, the Black Eagle burst out laughing too. He looked at Lin Shay with a wronged expression and said, hey, if you have a grudge against Gu Jingze, don't take it out on me, okay? Lin Shay blinked his eyes and looked at him. We're just playing a game here. Who has any grievances? The Black Eagle said, then, I am a king now, okay? You have to listen to me. Hurry up, take the initiative. Yu Minmin burst out laughing. She really couldn't help it. Lin Che was really skillful when it came to showing off. How could Gu Jingze be a match for her? She looked at Gu Jingze sympathetically. Gu Jingze, on the other hand, didn't smile at all as he stared at Lin Che. This woman, she really wanted to die. All right. She wanted him to seduce her, right? Gu Jingze suddenly stood up. The Black Eagle was scared out of his wits. Why did Gu Jingze suddenly appear? It can't be for real, right? Gu Jingze walked over with a deep look in his eyes and walked towards the Black Eagle step by step. Hey, Gu Jingze, calm down. I'm a normal man. I don't want to be kissed by a man. If you dare to come over, I don't care if you're a Gu Jingze or not. I will beat you up. When everyone saw that the dignified Black Hawk had suddenly become so timid, they immediately burst into laughter. Gu Jingze acted as if he didn't hear it and continued to walk forward step by step. The Black Eagle was really scared. He jumped up and wanted to run away without a care in the world. However, at this moment, he saw that Gu Jingze suddenly turn around and picked up Lin Che, who was still laughing. The next moment, his lips went deep into Lin Che's. No, wait. Everyone only saw Gu Jingze's hands move very quickly, and his tongue had already delved in her mouth skillfully. What a pervert! And his kiss was so obvious. Lin Che didn't have time to react. What was going on? Didn't he want him to kiss the Black Eagle? Why was she the one being kissed? Lin Che was a little dizzy from the kiss and couldn't react for a long time. It wasn't until Gu Jingze slightly loosened his grip that she came back to her senses. She quickly pushed his chest away, but her little face was already red because of what he had just done. Gu Jingze looked at her lovingly, with a blurred sense of sexiness. Why? Don't you want to see my body? Annoying. I want to see who would be kissed by you or the Black Eagle. Lin Che was even more furious. Gu Jingze didn't want to waste any more words, and directly carried Lin Che horizontally. Let go of me. What are you doing? Gu Jingze directly carried her out of the room. No one dared to stop him. They all looked at him and made way for him. As for Lin Che, he was ruthlessly shoved into the washroom. Then she was put down. Gu Jingze put her on the dressing table and looked at her with burning eyes. Lin Che covered her face, not letting him see. You're so annoying. Let me go back. Who told you to bring me here? Gu Jingze lowered his head and stared into her eyes, not giving her a chance to look away. Lin Che, I know that you want to act in that script, but I don't want to see you being intimate with other men. So you can act in it. But you have to promise me that the bed scenes will be deleted. What? Lin Che was stunned. How did the topic change to this? He stared at her seriously and said word by word, You have to delete it, otherwise I can't accept it. Chapter 1346. Lin Che hadn't expected him to say this suddenly. Could it be because of the bed scene that was why he had been feeling awkward? Lin Che immediately understood, and he also immediately laughed. He was so petty. It was all because of the bed scene. Lin Che didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She looked at Gu Jingze and placed her hands on his cheeks. I don't want to delete it, but it depends on whether it's necessary. If I don't think it's necessary, I'll delete it. There won't be that kind of scene. The reminder about the bed scene is just a reminder. It's not guaranteed to be there. When we discuss the script, we'll discuss whether it's necessary or not. Although many people like to watch it, the story is the most important thing. The quality is the most important. Whether there's a bed scene or not isn't a necessary factor for success. Gu Jingze held her hand. Am I being too stingy? Lin Che shook his head. You don't really understand. Besides, you've never seen my work before. That's right. He deliberately avoided looking at it. She said, Actually, there are very few intimate scenes in my works. Most of them are just plots. Really? Sigh so. Gu Jingze looked at her, deliberately sighing, smiled, and patted her on the head. Don't pretend to be profound here. Humph. Gu Jingze thought for a moment and didn't say anything else. Don't play tricks on me again. He carried her down from above. Lin Che snorted. What do you mean by teasing? That's what truth or dare is all about. Gu Jingze lowered his head to her chest. Won't you get jealous when you see me kiss someone else? How would I know? Why don't you try it with Blackhawk? I'll see if I get jealous. Gu Jingze lowered her lips and kissed her deeply again. As if punishing her, he bit her lips with all his might. She moaned. Just then, someone outside asked, "Is there anyone inside? Why is the door closed?" Lin Shay said, Okay, let's not waste their time. Let's go." Then, Gu Jingze opened the door. The people outside were surprised to see Gu Jingze. Gu Jingze said, "Sorry for wasting your time. Can you turn around? My girlfriend is a little embarrassed." Duh. These words were somewhat suggestive. "Girlfriend, sorry for the delay. What were they doing inside just now?" So shy." Moreover, the male lead was so handsome that the girls quickly turned their heads away. Okay, we understand. Hurry up and go out. We will watch it." With such a boyfriend, who wouldn't be able to resist? Coming here directly was a little too passionate, but it was understandable. Lin Shay listened from behind. What the fuck? What kind of joke is this? Who is embarrassed? Lin Shay stood there. He really wanted to kill this man with his eyes, but when he looked at the people around him, he quickly slipped away. He had already said it out loud, and there was nothing he could do to change it. Fortunately, they really did not see who she was. It was better to leave quickly. The next day, Lin Shay arrived at the company and told Yu Minmin that she had decided to make this TV series after watching it. However, there was a problem. She felt that one company was not enough, so she needed to find another company to work with. Yu Minmin said, "That's good. Then let's find a company to work with first. I'm also going to get the casting company to prepare for the casting." Some of their roles were contracted to a casting director who would pick the roles and work together to save a lot of time. On the other side, the director had already started the project after hearing Yu Minmin's instructions. Because it was a TV series produced by Lin Shay's family, many actors were very interested. After discussing many of the roles, they decided to use actors that they were more familiar with. But at this moment, Lin Shay suddenly saw that there was a role that had been decided on. However, she had never seen that name before. The name was Zhou Yu. Who is this? She searched for this person online, but she could not find this person. Although it was not an important role, it was still a character. It was strange that such a role had appeared out of nowhere. So she called the director to ask about it. Seeing that it was Lin Shay, the director took it seriously. Lin Shay immediately asked about the situation. The director said, "Don't ask about this. This role is not important anyway. Can't you just give it to someone else?" "Of course not. I want to know the situation. What's wrong with you? Did an investor put this person in?" "Oh yeah, it's a role that can't be rejected." "What do you mean by can't be rejected?" It seemed like there was no one here that couldn't be rejected, because almost everyone knew that Yu Minmin was the president's wife. Which rich businessman would dare to come here and put on an act? But now, the director actually said that there was someone who couldn't be rejected. While Lin Shay was still in shock, the director said in a low voice, "Someone from the Gu family." Lin Shay was depressed. Which Gu family? After Gu Jingze split from the family, there were now two Gu families. Who else could it be? Someone from the Gu family. When outsiders talked about the Gu family, it was the Gu family from Gu Jingze's side. It couldn't be. Gu Jingze had arranged a role for her. Was there a mistake? Lin Shay was still in shock when the director continued. The person said that he doesn't care about the role. He just wants to be accepted. I'm just giving him face. I didn't give him any important role. More importantly, I've seen the person, but you haven't. Just looking at the photo, I can tell that he's extraordinary. He's definitely a good seedling. It's a pity that he's a little too old. If he had been discovered earlier, he would have become famous long ago. He might even be the next Gu Jingyu. I know that this is a high-quality drama, so we can't get someone who can't do it. You haven't seen the photo, but if you have, you will definitely like him. Don't worry about it. A lot of photos are deceptive. This one definitely won't be deceptive. Haha. Lin Shay had no choice. He didn't know who from the Gu family would arrange a role for them. Fortunately, the production crew would hold their first gathering soon. They were preparing to start filming on an auspicious day. On the day of the filming, Lin Shay went there early. He was curious to see who it was that made such a big deal out of the Gu family to promote him. When they arrived, the opening ceremony was relatively simple. When Lin Shay arrived, he first pulled the director aside and said, "That Zhou Yu you mentioned, where is he?" "All right, why are you so interested in him?" Of course he was interested. He was related to the Gu family. Chapter 1347. He'll be here soon. You'll know when you see him later. Trust me, he'll definitely surprise you. Really? Lin Che was a little doubtful. Then, someone exclaimed from behind, "Who's that?" "Yeah, he's so handsome. Is he a newcomer? I've never seen him before." Just then, the director said, "Look, look, he's here." Lin Che curiously turned his head around. Behind him, a familiar figure was walking over with an indifferent expression. He was indeed a handsome man. Even in a place like the entertainment industry, where handsome men were as common as clouds, his looks were enough to stand out. But who could explain why this man looked so much like Gu Jingze? No. It was definitely not just a resemblance. They were made from the same mold. Lin Che was stunned. Her mouth was slightly open, and she forgot to close it for a while. Compared to the people behind her who were gasping in shock, she looked even more incredulous. The director thought that she was infatuated with him and couldn't help but feel proud of himself. "What do you think? I told you that I wouldn't lie to you. Look, this talent is even better than the trainees from your company. If we nurture him well, he'll definitely become famous. He'll be the type that millions of girls will be attracted to." The director thought that Lin Che had been hanging around for so many years and was surrounded by people like Gu Jingyu. Yet, he was still infatuated with this person. It was clear that he had good taste. Another superstar in the entertainment industry was about to rise from his hands. However, Lin Che had no time to care about the director's thoughts. She was pointing in that direction, almost going crazy. She pointed in that direction and said, Gu Jingze. What was he doing? Needless to say, if Gu Jingze wanted to become famous, he could do it in a matter of minutes. Becoming famous would be underestimating him. He could become famous throughout the universe. Not to mention anything else, just look at how Gu Jingyu was neglecting his duties. Whether he wanted to act or not, he was already famous. They were brothers. In terms of talent, Gu Jingze was even more mysterious and unpredictable than Gu Jingyu. It was the kind of temperament that young men and women liked. But when did he become Zhouyu? Lin Che stared at Gu Jingze in shock. However, Gu Jingze's face was as calm as usual. He looked calm and collected, as if he had automatically shielded himself from the gazes of those infatuated girls around him. He just walked slowly and casually towards them. Wait, when he saw Lin Che's expression, which looked like he had eaten something bad, he faintly and imperceptibly raised the corner of his lips. She said immediately, "All right, go do what you need to do first." She had to ask him what was going on with him. Everyone watched in surprise as Lin Che went up and pulled the man over like a madman. What happened to Lin Che? This man was definitely handsome. But what was Lin Che like? So handsome that she couldn't control herself? That was impossible. Everyone was still confused, but Lin Che's mind was not on it. He didn't care about his image at the moment. He just pulled Gu Jingze to the back where no one was. Gu Jingze lowered his head to look at her. Lin Che said, "What are you doing? What's wrong with you? Why you? You're Gu Jingze, right? But why are you here?" Gu Jingze smiled. "Why? Are you stupid? You don't even recognize your own husband?" No. Oh, it's really you. I can fake my appearance, but I can't fake my voice. I'm not dreaming, am I?" Gu Jingze smiled. "I think you were right last time. I really don't understand this industry." Which last time? The time when he didn't want her to take on that role? She said, "What's wrong?" Gu Jingze said, "Because I don't understand you. I always let my imagination run wild. People are more afraid of things they don't know. So, I think it's necessary for me to develop myself so that I can understand your working process. Then I won't misunderstand you and let my imagination run wild." All right, Gumohan was indeed Gumohan. He could even come up with such a serious theory on such a matter. But she still couldn't accept it. She stomped her feet and said, "Are you really going to act in a TV show? Are you crazy? What about your company? What about your job? What if people find out about you? Besides, what about the pay? I can't afford to hire you." Who could afford to hire Gu Jingze? That was a sky-high price. Gu Jingze looked at her. "I'll leave the company to Qin Hao. If there's anything, he could just come here. Since I'm here, I have the ability to hide my identity. Let's talk about the pay." He approached her gently, his breath lingering on her body as he moved slightly. "You can't afford to hire me. What should she do? But you can pay with your body. Shameless. How could an actor say such things to the producer? Lin Shaye looked at him speechlessly. Gu Jingzi said, "Okay, look, people are watching. If we don't go over, they will think that we're going to have a baby here." What? What? At this moment, Lin Shaye seemed to have realized something. She turned around to look. Gosh, what kind of look were those people giving them? The people outside were looking at them in surprise, their eyes almost popping out of their sockets. They wanted to stretch out their ears to hear what they were talking about. Their eyes seemed to be mocking them curiously. It was as if Lin Shaye had become the epitome of a love-struck fool. She couldn't control herself just because of a handsome newcomer. Oh my, it was all Gu Jingzi's fault. Now she couldn't keep her chastity, her reputation, her image. No matter what, Lin Shaye quickly coughed and looked at Gu Jingzi seriously. Are you sure you want to have fun here? If Gu Jingzi was here, it wouldn't be acting. It would be fun. Gu Jingzi nodded. Anyway, it's not an important role. I'm here to accompany you. Okay, but Lin Shaye would probably need a long time to get used to it. She was still in a state of mental breakdown. Her brain was slow to process. Let's go. Let's go. She brought Gu Jingzi back first. Lin Shaye looked at the curious gazes and chuckled. We have the intention to groom this newcomer, so I said a little more. He came too suddenly and gave me a fright. Okay, let's continue with the opening ceremony. Everyone, get ready to burn incense. It's going to be past the auspicious hour. People in the industry believed in this. Even those who didn't believe in it treated it as a tradition. So every time the opening ceremony started, they would definitely pray and burn incense. I have a migraine today. I'll update it in the morning. Chapter 1348. As for today's opening ceremony, everyone stared at the man in the middle. He stood next to Lin Shaye, and Lin Shaye didn't say anything. Usually, that position should be where the male lead stood. Even if the male lead didn't come, it should be the position of another important person. But today, it was given to him, which made people feel very strange. Plus, he was really handsome. Everyone couldn't help but start discussing who this person was. It looked like Lin Shaye liked him a lot. Until they reached home. Lin Shaye looked at Gu Jingzi. But you went to act. Do you know how to act? Gu Jingzi said, I just stood there and talked. How is that possible? Lin Shaye said, come, let me teach you. She sat cross-legged and picked up the script for him to see. Gu Jingzi said, you want to teach me how to act? Of course. No matter what, I'm the boss now. I can't just watch you mess it up. Lin Shaye asked him to pose. He walked over and said, come. Let's try this part. Okay. Gu Jingzi smiled and sat down. Read this line first. I, Qian Moli, only wish to live in the countryside. I don't care about the outside world. Within the three realms, no one, no matter what, can disturb my cultivation. The character was a very elegant immortal. The words he said were very magnanimous. So to match his expression, it had to be a magnanimous expression. An impassioned and passionate feeling was the best. It made people feel carefree, empathized, and lighthearted. However, Gu Jingzi looked at Lin Shaye. His gaze was as gentle as flowing water. It made people think of deep love. No, this emotion wasn't right. Lin Shaye shook his head. Hey, there's something wrong with your gaze. Change it. What's wrong? Gu Jingzi said. This man, he's an exalted immortal, a very awesome immortal. He doesn't have any lust or emotions. He just wants to let himself go. Really? That's what I think. What the hell are you thinking? Look at your expression. It's not right. Really? But I feel that I can only look at you like this. Luckily, she wouldn't have any scenes with him in the future. Then let's do the next part. All right. Hey, that's not right. Your movements are too stiff. Isn't it just walking less? He's going to leave with an unyielding and immortal-like aura. Am I not? Absolutely not. Lin Shaye was finally rendered speechless by Gu Jingzi's stiff expression. Gu Jingzi, I've decided. It's better for you to stand there and not move. How are we going to act then? What's the point of acting? Just stand there and be the background. Anyway, your face is good enough for people to see. Just sell your face and don't talk. But don't speak. Lin Shaye nodded his head in satisfaction when he saw him standing there in silence. Sigh, a man who looked like a painting. Seriously, just standing there, was already very good looking. There was no need to use words to express it at all. Well, he didn't know how to act anyway. So be it. Lin Shaye wanted to cry, but had no tears. He would have to discuss with the director tomorrow to change his scenes. At this time, Lin Shaye's phone rang, saying that Shui Yang was injured abroad. Lin Shaye asked Gu Jingze to look at the script while he quickly went out to deal with it. Shui Yang was injured. Moreover, the injury was on his face. When they got the news, the whole company was in a state of panic. How did this happen? How did he get injured? And even his face was injured. Lin Shaye hurried to ask. Yu Minmin brought Lin Shaye a photo and said, "It said that it's an explosion scene. He really put in too much effort. He didn't use a stunt double in that scene. He did it all by himself and blew it up. Look at his face." His badly mutilated face was a ghastly sight to behold. What happened? Lin Shaye's heart was in his throat. It was indescribably painful. Yu Minmin said, "His eyebrows are injured here. The corners of his mouth and ears are also injured. This side of his face is more serious, but the photo is a little scary. Actually, the injury shouldn't be that big, but I think this kind of injury will leave a scar." Lin Shaye sucked in a breath. An actor's face was still very important. What about his body? Elsewhere, his arm is injured, but it's all superficial. His body is fine, but he's bleeding a lot now. He's recuperating. Lin Shaye didn't expect that he would work so hard in Hollywood. Yu Minmin said, "He's resting there now. I'm going to go over to take a look." "I'll go," Lin Shaye said. "With your status, it's too dangerous to go abroad." No matter what, she was the president's wife. It was too dangerous to go abroad. But you just started filming here. If you go away, you might start filming immediately when you come back. How are you going to be so busy? "I'm just going over to make some arrangements. It's just a few days. It's okay." Yu Minmin sighed as she looked at Lin Shaye. "You're too hardworking." Lin Shaye smiled. She looked outside. Her paintings and posters were stuck in the corridor of the company. From a small actress to a big star now, so many years had passed. It wasn't that she didn't sigh in her heart. She said, "Although there are times when I feel very tired, very uncomfortable, and really want to give up, I feel that there's no need for me to be so tired. Some people go to the deep mountains and forests, grow flowers and vegetables by themselves, live in seclusion, work at sunrise and rest at sunset, and still live their entire lives without starving to death. Sometimes I also think that I should live such a life, but when I think about it, there's some things that I can't give up, and that is acting, and that is fighting. Now, to me, money is just a number. Actually, it doesn't matter how much I earn, but I still like to see these numbers accumulate, because this is not the accumulation of money, but the accumulation of my hard work, the accumulation of results." Yu Minmin looked at Lin Shaye. She felt that Lin Shaye was indeed different from before. She had improved a lot, and it was her own feeling. Her temperament had also become better. Lin Shaye said, "So no matter how tired I am, I want to persist, because if I don't act, I don't know what else I can do. Maybe I could be a rich woman, but if I don't act, I don't feel that there's any joy. I feel that what I enjoy now is the joy of acting. The process in between is the most beautiful. Also, the busy process of running a company gives one the most sense of accomplishment. So, you don't have to think that I'm very tired. I'm very tired, but I'm also very happy. I'm so lucky to be able to meet all of you, to be happy together, to be sad together." When Yu Minmin heard this, she slowly hugged Lin Shaye. "Me too. I'm very happy to fight with all of you. I'm happier than anything else. I think Shui Yang would feel the same way. That's why he works so hard. I'm the same. I chose to write, and work hard. It's very tiring, but also very happy. Because of all of you, no matter how busy, how hard, how tired, as long as I'm still in front of the computer, I will persevere. I'm so lucky to be able to walk on this path." Chapter 1349. Lin Shaye nodded. Her heart ached for Shui Yang. He was such a good boy. She didn't want any changes in her life because of this. A day later, Lin Shaye flew to Hollywood. The hospital where Shui Yang was staying was quite legal. He had bought insurance before coming, so there was no problem paying for the medical fees. The Hollywood production team was also worried that Shui Yang would ask for more compensation. Before Lin Che arrived, they were already discussing in private. I don't know if everyone in C is like this. Anyway, I heard that some of the cases are not good. I heard that they ask for a lot of money. How can we do that? Our funds have always been spent on facilities. We don't give much to actors. Hollywood was different from some unscrupulous producers in C country. Most of their funds were spent on technology. However, some production companies in C country claim to have invested hundreds of millions of dollars, but 90% of it was spent on actors' remuneration. Naturally, the production couldn't keep up. We can only see how the insurance company pays. But their artist faces are very important. However, when Lin Che arrived, he didn't talk to them about compensation. Shui Yang was still resting inside. When she went in, Shui Yang was eating. The bloody mess on his face was gone. After washing it, he looked much better. However, the scar was still very obvious. Lin Che's heart ached. He walked over quickly. "How are you? Are there any other problems?" Shui Yang saw that Lin Che had actually come and tried to get up. "Sister Che, I'm fine." Lin Che said, "All right, don't get up. I'm just here to take a look. Let me see how you are." Lin Che first checked him, then picked up the medical record to read. Although it was in English, she was still able to read it smoothly. There were some words that she didn't know, so she just looked it up. She hadn't lived in America for nothing. After reading it, she frowned. The doctor didn't write it very clearly, but your body should be fine. Shui Yang said, "Is my face badly disfigured?" Lin Che shook her head. "No, don't think too much. It's just a little scar. We'll find a good scar doctor." Just then, someone suddenly came in. "Is it Mr. Shui Yang?" The person who came was a foreign man in a suit and leather shoes. Lin Che asked suspiciously, "Yes, who are you people?" "Oh, we're here to treat Mr. Shui Yang." "Sir, the medical standards here aren't the best in America. I'll take you to the best hospital in America for treatment. Please come with us." Lin Che asked in surprise, "Who exactly are you?" The man looked at Lin Che and said, "Miss Lin, I hope you can trust us. The doctor I found for Mr. Shui Yang will definitely be the best, much better than here." Lin Che looked at the man and said, "We can find a doctor ourselves. Although you possess remarkable abilities, this is, after all, our world. We are the ones who are familiar with this place. Thus, trusting us is your best choice." Lin Che paused and looked at the man with a faint smile. "All right, I understand. Let's go." The man gave her the feeling that he should know her identity. If he knew her identity, he could still say such words. If he was afraid of her identity, he should not lie in this aspect. Moreover, if there's really a problem, she would also bring people over, so she might not lose to him. Shui Yang was still looking at them, not knowing what was going on. But seeing that Lin Che had agreed, he had nothing else to say and immediately agreed. After a while, the people really arrived. A few people came and moved Shui Yang out. The hospital also cooperated with the transfer. The crew was a little surprised. They came in and said, "This is the hospital we're working with. Where are you going?" Lin Che said, "We're going to a better hospital. But that's not the hospital our insurance company is working with. You can't do this. I've heard that you people from country C are like this, but we don't have much money for you to spend like this, really." Hearing that the people from country C were like this, Lin Che was a little depressed. He turned around and looked at the crew. "What do you mean? What's going on in country C?" The man felt that he had said something wrong. He shouldn't have said that. He spread his hands and said, "That's not what I meant." Lin Che laughed coldly. "No matter which country you're from, there are good and bad people. It's not like your country doesn't have criminals or people who commit murder and arson. So, please don't use which country to define good and bad people, okay? We will transfer him to another hospital. But from the start, we never said that we would let you spend the money. Shui Yang is from our company. Our company will give him the best treatment. So, you don't have to worry about money. We people from country C are used to protecting our own people. If he's one of us, we'll give him the best." The crew was a little speechless at her words. They looked at her and said, "I'm sorry." They didn't expect her to say that Shui Yang didn't need them to spend the money. This was really surprising. It overturned their understanding of the people from country C. Perhaps she was right. There were good and bad people in every country. He was the one who had gauged the heart of a gentleman with his own mean measure. With that, Lin Che followed the crew to the hospital. Before they arrived, they heard someone say, "You're very lucky. You're also very good at finding the place. That is the best hospital, especially for injuries like this. Many of their doctors are the most famous in the world." Lin Che wasn't sure why they were able to go there. She looked at Shui Yang, and Shui Yang looked back at her. "Sister Che, what's going on?" Lin Che looked outside through the window of the ambulance. Outside, there are many people clearing the way, making the road extremely smooth. Moreover, those people looked like they were all powerful people. It was obvious that they weren't ordinary people. Lin Che said, "I think maybe someone is secretly helping us." "What?" Lin Che looked at Shui Yang. "To be exact, they're secretly helping you." Shui Yang was stunned. A look of disbelief flashed across his face. He thought of it too, but he didn't dare to think about it. He was worried that he was thinking too much. "Sister Che, you're saying?" Lin Che looked into the distance and smiled. "Yes, I'll buy. Abigail. Is it true? Is it her?" Shui Yang looked outside quietly, a little excitement surging in his eyes. But after a while, he looked down again. No, he hadn't achieved much yet. He didn't know how to face her now. But in his heart, he couldn't help but wonder if he could see her again. Chapter 1350. Soon, they arrived at the hospital. Lin Che looked at the people outside and let Shui Yang go in for treatment first. The doctor quickly cleaned his wound. Looking at his professional appearance, he was indeed much better than the previous people. Lin Che relaxed a little. Looking at the people inside, she walked over and asked, "Is Abai all right?" The man smiled at her and shook his head. "Better than you think." Lin Che said, "All right, send my regards to her. Tell her that we all miss her very much and that we hope that she will always be well. We will always wait for her and that she will always be our friend. No matter when we meet again, we will still be as good as we were in the past." The man smiled. "I will pass it on and thank her for everything she did for Shui Yang this time. She did it willingly." Lin Che smiled and didn't say anything else. Whether she was willing to appear this time or not, Lin Che believed that her heart was still there. She didn't have to let Abai appear. She could understand all of Abai's helplessness and thoughts. She must be helping Shui Yang in the best way she felt. When Shui Yang's wound was completely cleaned, the doctor came out. "It's been cleaned thoroughly. When the wound recovers, it won't deform easily. However, there will still be scars," the doctor said. Lin Che thanked the doctor. "As long as you've done your best, we will accept it calmly." She walked in and looked at Shui Yang. Shui Yang leaned there, looking very calm. Shui Yang said, "Will the scars affect anything?" Lin Che said, "Scars are a man's metal. It's okay, it won't affect much." Shui Yang also knew in his heart that many artists disappeared because of small problems, especially these small scars. Although they didn't look serious and might be nothing to ordinary people, to some artists, they were indeed fatal. For example, some products, after you have these scars, you can no longer be used as a spokesperson. Some characters, because you have these scars, may affect the feeling you give to the audience on the screen. Then some characters are destined to be unsuitable. A small wound may be magnified on the television screen very seriously, and some of your facial expressions will be affected. And an artist needed commercial value. Without commercial value, they would slowly disappear. Shui Yang knew everything. Lin Che looked at him and said, "Silly, don't let your imagination run wild. You know that we won't give up on any of the company's artists. Even if you have a scar, we can still develop in another direction. Anyway, you're about the right age, and it's time for you to change your career. We won't give up on you, so just rest well and trust us." Shui Yang looked at Lin Che and nodded vigorously. If it was Lin Che, it would be different. He said, "I understand." Lin Che said, "Now, the movie producer said that they want to discuss the compensation." Shui Yang said, "Just compensate me according to the insurance. I don't need more compensation." If they compensated according to the insurance, the money wouldn't be that much. The crew would also be very happy because they wouldn't have to pay. Lin Che said, "All right, we'll respect your opinion." Shui Yang said, "In any case, if there's a problem, we're all responsible. Besides, Asking for a few million in compensation is useless to me. Lin Che nodded. Shui Yang's way of thinking was still very mature. After all, he was someone who had experienced some things. In the entertainment industry, he was much more indifferent and open-minded. When the crew heard that he didn't need more compensation, they were naturally much happier. They sent someone over to ask if he had any special needs. At the same time, the crew immediately came to apologize to Lin Che. I'm sorry for doubting you before. You guys are indeed a very good team to be so close and tolerant of each other. Moreover, you're also a very generous boss. You let him stay here, and you even paid for it yourself. It's not the insurance company that pays for it. This place is very expensive. Lin Che shrugged. Actually, she wasn't the one paying for it, but there was no need to explain so much to them. The crew said, "Oh right, if he recovers quickly, we hope that he can continue to join us." Really? Is he still suitable for the role? Actually, scars don't affect our movie too much. Moreover, the director likes him very much and feels that he's a very dedicated actor. He's not impetuous at all and has a very fighting spirit. And you guys are also a very good team. It'll be a pleasure to work with you guys. Thus, we decided to add more elements to him and make use of his scars. When Lin Che heard this, she instantly became excited. Really? That's great. She quickly went in and told Shui Yang the good news. Shui Yang said, "So they'll continue to use me? That's great. I thought I might be fired." Lin Che said, "Good people will always be rewarded." Shui Yang revealed a smile. "Sister Che, I'll just recuperate here. It probably won't take more than a few days. Anyway, they're all superficial wounds. You don't have to worry about me here. I know you're very busy. It's better for you to go back and work." Lin Che sighed and came over to pat his shoulder. "All right, work hard. The Oscars are waving at you." Shui Yang smiled even more bashfully. The next day, Lin Che left this place and set off for his country. It took him a day to reach B City. Without stopping, he went to the filming site first. The people in the company were already preparing for the new drama. Seeing Lin Che return, they had a plan in mind. "Sister Che, you're back at the right time." This novel suddenly said that they sold the copyright to Xing Hui first. "We can't make this drama now. What do you think we should do? There's a problem with the copyright?" "Yeah, we didn't expect there to be such a problem." The production side was also very depressed. They had already started filming, but the problem was actually with the copyright. Lin Che tapped his chin. "I don't believe that the novel's copyright was actually sold to them first. There must be a problem in the middle. Even if there isn't a problem, since we've already started filming, we won't let them mess up this drama so easily." Hearing Lin Che say this, the staff immediately said, "That's right. Xing Hui isn't purposely messing with us. They're obstructing us. They're too despicable." This was because some novels would be a little short-sighted when they first sold the copyright. The copyright wasn't very clear, especially when the author didn't communicate with the website in time. As a result, the copyright was sold without the author even knowing. This led to problems with the copyright of some novels. Now, Xing Hui was using these problems to find fault with them. Chapter 1351. "Sister Che, what should we do now? We've already started work. Isn't Xing Hui doing this on purpose? If the copyright isn't clear to begin with, we can only stop working now. There was a case in the past where the names and actors were changed because of copyright issues, but it still couldn't be aired in the end. Don't tell me we have to do the same?" Lin Che said, "All right, don't worry. They won't be able to do anything, especially since they've offended someone this time." Lin Che thought, "Why don't you look at the cast list first before picking a fight?" Among the actors participating this time, there are people they couldn't afford to offend, yet they dared to pick a fight. They wanted to stop Gu Jingzi from acting. They must be courting death. However, the employees didn't know that. Seeing how Lin Che didn't seem worried at all, they were still a little anxious. "Sister Che, you don't know how important copyright is nowadays. It's not something that can be bought with money." Xing Hui probably grasped this point. They know that our company is rich and doesn't lack money, but they won't sell the copyright. With the copyright in our hands, we can't do anything about it. All right, since Sister Che has said so, we don't have to worry anymore. Lin Che met up with Yu Minmin. Yu Minmin said directly, "Wait, I'll give Xing Hui a call and ask first. All right, I'm not in a hurry. They'll be the ones in a hurry after this. You're so sure. Yeah. Don't you know Gu Jing's personality? He can't change his mind once he's decided. Now that someone dares to stop him from acting, he won't be able to let them off easily if the TV series he's participating in can't be aired. That's true. Yu Minmin picked up her phone. She directly called Xing Hui's #1 manager, Liang Shan. I'm really flattered that the president's wife called personally. About the copyright, I wonder if you've heard about it. Oh, you're talking about it? I'm really sorry. I didn't tell you earlier that we've already gotten the copyright. It's all the author's fault. He didn't ask clearly and sold the copyright to us, yet he's still going around selling it. Haha, looks like you're not going to let it go. We're willing to pay a high price to buy it back. I know that your studio is generous and dares to invest in anything. Boss Lin isn't a lead in the business world and dares to do anything. But for this television series, we've already started preparing. Seriously, the actors have already been prepared. We really can't sell it. Hee. Lin Che couldn't bear to listen any longer. Liang Shan's tone was really smug. It was extremely sour. Lin Che took the phone and said, Liangda, I'm really giving you a chance now. If we don't interfere with each other's business, we can still work together. But if you do this now, I won't give you face anymore. Haha, so be it. Boss Lin, don't be angry. This is a true business competition. Lin Che hung up the phone, too lazy to reply to him. Over there, Liang Shan spat. Let's see how long she can be arrogant for. Does she really think that we don't know anything? She already has a child, so why is she still pretending to be an innocent girl? Wu Yufei said, You still haven't found out who the child belongs to. What if it's a smokescreen to lure us into a trap? Didn't you say that it's a trap? That child is very similar to her. Moreover, the fact that her life has been so smooth all these years is indeed suspicious. We don't know who is controlling her from behind the scenes. I reckon that she was kept by some rich businessman and secretly gave birth to the child. She's so secretive. Maybe that rich businessman is married and secretly gave birth to the child. Otherwise, why would she need to hide it so much? Wu Yufei knew that it made sense, but she still felt a little uneasy in her heart. Wu Yufei said, So what you're saying is that if she has a way, we can use this to control her. Yeah, now that she started filming, she's probably lost 30% of the budget. She's lost a few million in one go. Humph, she still doesn't dare to do anything to me. Humph, because we have something on her. Let's see if Lin Che still dares to be arrogant in front of me in the future. On the other side, Gu Jingze had already received the news. Because the filming crew had suddenly stopped working, everyone was discussing it. Gu Jingze also said that he didn't need to go for the time being. Naturally, he knew that there was a problem. Very quickly, he found out the whole story. Qin Hao walked over and said, Sir, what can I do for you? Take a look at this, Xing Hui. Gu Jingze pushed the documents in front of him. Qin Hao paused for a moment. He picked it up and looked at it. He was shocked. Oh my, how dare he touch his madam? Moreover, this time, Gu Jingze was involved. Although he didn't understand why Gu Jingze went to play around, he was the boss after all. Okay, I'll do it right away. The next day, Xing Hui's side had a problem. 2 artists were removed from a show. One of them even had a video of him being kept by a rich woman and being played around with. Xing Hui was shocked. How did this video end up in someone else's hands? Xing Hui was immediately in an uproar. The video is in the hands of the rich woman. She had originally said that as long as we were obedient, we wouldn't expose it. After all, this video isn't good for her and she doesn't want others to see it. But now, they called the rich woman to question her. In the end, the rich woman said, Who told you to offend people for no reason? Hey, Mrs. Chun, this video isn't good for you either. Why don't you help us clarify that this is fake and that we were playing games at the time? What do you think? Yeah, it's not good for me, but I'm not as reckless as you guys. I think my life is more important. Forgive me for not being able to help you. I advise you to think about what wicked things you've done recently and stop. Otherwise, you'll be dead. Don't blame me for not reminding you. After saying that, the rich woman hung up. Xing Hui's side was even more dumbfounded. What wicked things had they done? It was none other than Lin Che. Liang Shan was so angry that he wanted to slam the table. If Lin Che didn't have a sugar daddy behind him, I wouldn't believe it. He called Lin Che and questioned him. Boss Lin, you're being too mean. I just scammed you for a TV show, but you ruined one of my artists. How much was an artist worth? It was definitely worth more than 1,000,000 yuan. Lin Che smiled and said, I really don't know what you're talking about. Don't play dumb with me, Lin Che. I know you have someone behind you. You don't have to deny it. Your 2 children are fine now, right? They're covering them up very tightly. But paper can't hide life. Sooner or later, you'll be discovered. Are you sure you want to continue doing this? Lin Che smiled and said, Oh, do you have proof? You're slandering me and threatening me. I've recorded your voices. Hey you, why didn't he play by the rules? Chapter 1352. Lin Che said, Is it because you don't have evidence? Then you can slowly look for evidence. I'm hanging up first. As for the rest, I don't know. Don't ask me. I told you before that it's better for us to mind our own business. You were the one who didn't agree, right? With that, Lin Che hung up the phone. Liang Shan was infuriated. She actually hung up the phone? Was she really not afraid that they would be able to capture something or find out something? Speaking of which, it was really strange. Everything on her side was so tightly sealed, as if there was no gap at all. It was really although Liang Shan wasn't convinced, he thought about it. If he didn't stop now, he was afraid that more news would be exposed. Compared to Lin Che's side, Xinghui didn't care about the process because they wanted to stand out. As a result, they had a lot of dirt on them. The next day, Xinghui appeared and expressed that they were willing to sell the copyright to Lin Che, but she had to pay 1,000,000. Lin Che didn't care about 1,000,000. She gave him 1,000,000 in copyright fees. He couldn't fight with a gentleman. Moreover, the copyright wasn't clear. The money was well spent. All of a sudden, the TV series could start filming again. When the staff in the studio saw this, they felt very happy. Our sister Che is really amazing. Previously, other companies had so many TV series canceled because of copyright issues. But this isn't a problem for our sister Che. Yeah, I didn't expect that stingy Xinghui to sell the copyright to us for 1,000,000. I wonder what method our sister Che used. In any case, it should be very amazing. That's right. The filming of this TV series would definitely start with the filming in the studio. Lin Che went to the studio first. Seeing that everyone had rested for 2 days and had started filming again in high spirits, he felt very relaxed. The male lead was a recently popular young actor called Olai. He wasn't able to attend the opening ceremony that day because he was busy. On his way back, Olai heard that they had a supporting role this time. She was really beautiful, and it was obvious that she would be very popular in the future. However, no one had a photo of her. Moreover, Olai didn't want to ask so much for no reason. It would make it seem like he cared. However, he really wanted to see how this person was so beautiful. At this moment, Lin Che arrived. Olai said, Sis Che, you're here. When are we going to start filming? I haven't acted with you before. Please take care of me when the time comes. No, we're just learning from each other. I've seen your acting, and your acting skills are very good. You don't have to be so polite. No. Sister Che, your acting skills are clear for all to see. You're at the level of a heavenly queen. I should learn from you. Actually, after a TV series was shot, the entire crew would get to know each other very well, unless it was someone who liked to put on airs or had a bad temper and didn't get along with everyone. There were also people like that, but they would spread their reputation in the industry. As for the others, most of them would be reserved when they first met each other. Later on, as they got to know each other, they would become more lively, and they wouldn't be so distant with each other. Olai smiled and flattered Lin Che. Daoist Shun moved closer to Lin Che. When Gu Jingzhe arrived, he saw Olai smiling at Lin Che with a flattering look on his face. Zhang Xian's expression darkened. Gu Jingzhe walked over step by step. Aya, so handsome. Aya, that's Zhou Yu, right? So it's him. He's so handsome. Olai looked up when he heard the voice. He immediately saw the handsome man walking over expressionlessly. He had an air of arrogance and an air of immortality, making him look different from ordinary people. This was that Olai was a little stunned. However, Olai immediately realized why this man kept staring at him. Moreover, his gaze was filled with disdain and hostility. Olai didn't know when he had offended him. Or could it be, because he was the male lead, that was why he cared so much? That was very possible. Olai had to admit that this Zhou Yu was really very good looking. That face, that figure, that aura, it would be hard for him not to be popular in the entertainment industry. But he seemed to be a newcomer. Had he just debuted? Had he just been discovered and brought to be groomed? Then, with his looks, it was understandable that he wanted to be the male lead and be popular. Was he hostile towards him because he wanted to be popular and be the male lead? Olai was suddenly filled with pressure and insecurity. This television series was going to be very popular. When the time came, his popularity wouldn't surpass his, would it? He suddenly became serious. He looked at Gu Jingze and said, "Hey, who is this? Why haven't I seen her before?" He didn't mention anything about his looks or anything else. He didn't say that he knew her or that he had heard the rumors from the entire crew. It was as if he had really never seen her before. This was a blow to his confidence. Don't think that I'm going to be popular now. I'm still a newcomer that no one knows about. Lin Che saw that it was Gu Jingze. He hurriedly stood up and looked at Gu Jingze with a bright smile. Then he introduced them to Olai. "Olai, this is Gu. This is Zhou Yu." Olai said, "Oh, I've never heard of him. Is he a newcomer?" Lin Che replied, "Yes." As she said this, she looked at Gu Jingze with a bright smile on her face. The brightness in her eyes was extremely unusual. Olai suddenly wondered what Lin Che was doing. Why was he so proud? Could it be that she had taken a liking to Zhou Yu and was preparing to groom him? That was really too dangerous. Olai felt even sadder for his future. He suddenly felt even more worried. He looked at Gu Jingze and snorted in his heart. However, he was still a newcomer. Being popular wasn't just about having a good face. He had to be smart first. Gu Jingze glanced at Olai and then at Lin Che. "What are you filming today?" Lin Che hurriedly took out the script and explained, "It's like this. We're filming this today. Come. I've told the director to change your scenes. You can come when the time comes." Olai was dumbfounded. Lin Che, why did he look like a lackey and follow Zhou Yu away? Look at his posture, look at his movements, look at his bouncing. But was this how Lin Che, whose connections, popularity, and experience were all high and mighty in the circle, should look like? Lin Che didn't know that he looked like a lackey. After all, she was used to being a lackey in front of Gu Jingze. Chapter 1353. Lin Che liked to follow him around and smile whenever he looked at him. He especially appreciated every expression on his face. After all, every expression of his was so cute. After Gu Jingze sat down, Lin Che personally explained the script to him. The people around them were all stunned. This newcomer, he was treated too well. Lin Che personally explained the script. With Lin Che's current status in the entertainment industry, not every newcomer could receive such personal attention. Sometimes, newcomers had to find the right time to get close to Lin Che and flatter him. Many newcomers wanted to flatter him, but they didn't have the opportunity or the qualification. Moreover, the work of the script was usually done by the assistant director. These assistant directors were in charge of familiarizing the script with the actors. Actors had a lot of things to do, so they didn't have time to care about newcomers. Even if Lin Che was the producer, he didn't need to do it himself. Olai was scratching his ears and cheeks. He had been flattering Lin Che for a long time, but Lin Che had ignored him. Now that he was here, why did he go over and explain the script to him? The difference was too big. Seeing the staff looking at him in surprise, he quickly pulled them over. Finally, he couldn't help but let go of his pride and gossip. He was too curious. Did Lin Che's studio sign this person? Oh no. Then why is Lin Che so nice to him? He doesn't seem to be from Lin Che's studio. He's from another small studio. Before Gu Jingze joined the crew, he used a fake name to work for a studio, so everyone thought he was a newcomer in that studio. Olai was infuriated. What was Lin Che playing at? Was he trying to poach someone? It was not easy to poach newcomers, because when they first signed a contract, the contract was very strict. Usually, they had to pay a lot of penalty fees if they wanted to change employers. Therefore, very few people poached newcomers. After all, they had to spend money to train them, and they might not become famous. It was better to poach those whose contracts were about to expire and who had already achieved something. It was more cost-effective and stable. But Lin Che, don't tell me you've been mesmerized by Zhou Yu's beauty. While everyone was still thinking, the filming for the day had already begun. Lin Che was very serious when it came to work. Filming was also a piece of cake now, and it was very easy to film a scene. Since she had arrived early, she had already prepared her attire. She sat there and looked back, but Gu Jingze was not there. She asked, "Where's Zhou Yu?" The staff member said she went to do her makeup, but she didn't set her makeup. She only took her measurements. I don't know how she'll look in those clothes. After a while, he heard cries of surprise coming from behind. Lin Che was stunned and turned around to look. Gu Jingze came out. His white, muslin clothes fluttered in the wind. He looked like a handsome man who had walked out of the clouds and mist. His unyielding and immortal-like demeanor was vividly displayed on his body. His hair was stuck to the headgear, and his long hair flowed down gracefully. His forehead was exposed. His entire face and every corner of his face looked so perfect and flawless. All of a sudden, everyone felt that she was very beautiful. This was how immortals should be. Everyone sighed in their hearts, including Lin Che. It was the first time she had seen Gu Jingze in ancient clothes. He really looked better than any male star she had ever seen. There was no need to say anything else. Although he hadn't set his makeup, Gu Jingze's face and figure could really match any outfit. He looked good in any way. Gu Jingze walked over and looked at Lin Che, almost drooling. He looked at Lin Che and said, Gu, Zhou Yu, you look good in this." Gu Jingze looked at her and said, "I don't look good in anything else." "You look good in anything. You look good in anything, okay?" Lin Che looked at him speechlessly. What at Sundara? Gu Jingze's lips curved up a little. However, this makeup took him a few hours. He could vaguely understand how hard it was for Lin Che to film on a daily basis. This kind of work was really not as easy as people thought it was. Sitting there, it was very boring. It made him want to take out his phone and look at the data. But sometimes he had to sit straight and do nothing but put on makeup. However, when it came to the actual filming, Gu Jingze stood there and did a terrible job. It was as if he had practiced at home. Either he spoke without emotion or his expression was too stiff. He didn't look natural at all. However, Gu Jingze wasn't a professional, after all. Lin Che understood him, but others might not. Olai relaxed a little at the back. His acting was so bad. It seemed that there was a reason why he hadn't been popular for so long. It wasn't enough to just have a good face and bad acting skills. The director really wanted to explode in anger. He had never seen someone as stiff as Tong Ning. Although she looked stunning, what was he supposed to do when she was acting like this? How do these casting directors work? They couldn't just choose a character based on their looks. Lin Che looked at the director and wanted to smash something. He looked at Gu Jingze speechlessly and then quickly looked at the director. Then, he ran over to the director helplessly. The director said, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore." Lin Che said, calm down. "Didn't I tell you beforehand that he can't act well? I didn't expect him to be so bad. Even ordinary people can act better than him," Lin Che said. "He's a special person. Let's cut it down a little. We'll film the scenes where he's in the background. When he gets used to it, we'll film the others." What else could he do? Seeing that Lin Che had said so, the director could only give Lin Che face. He was just a little surprised. "Lin Che, you usually pay attention to your acting skills. I remember that when an actor's acting skills aren't good, you would be the first to change him. Why?" The director squinted at Zhou Yu. "You're so lenient to him. Tell me, is there something I don't know?" Lin Che said hurriedly, "Nothing. It's just that he's a little special." The director smiled. "Don't tell me you've taken a liking to him." Lin Che paused. It's possible." Puff. The director was just joking. He didn't really think so, but Lin Che actually agreed to it. The director almost vomited blood. Lin Che, stop joking." Lin Che blushed. But he's really good looking." Crazy. Lin Che was smitten. The director couldn't get used to it. But Lin Che's words were from the bottom of his heart. She must have been bewitched by his good looks, which was why she let him stay here to film. Because she could see him whenever she was working. It was really motivating. Chapter 1354. For the rest of the scenes, Gu Jingze really didn't do anything else. He just stood at the back expressionlessly. He was good at that. He didn't need to do anything special to look handsome just by standing there. But even so, he really didn't have any other use. For the next few days, he just stood at the back and didn't do any other scenes. When he went back at night, Gu Jingze still had to continue working. When he was free on the set, he would be busy with his tablet or go to Lin Che's nanny van to rest or have a video conference. He would often ignore people and disappear by himself. Everyone felt that Zhou Yu was really strange. He didn't interact with people, didn't go to gatherings, and didn't talk. Was this the attitude of a newcomer in the entertainment industry? Meanwhile, Gu Jingyu had nothing to do and came to visit. In order to promote his TV series, Lin Che organized a visit. After Lin Che contacted Gu Jingyu gladly came to visit him. When Gu Jingyu came, even the male lead couldn't handle him. Olai hurriedly followed behind and made way for Gu Jingyu. Many reporters were specially invited to the visit. Everyone followed Gu Jingyu in. Gu Jingyu said as soon as he entered the door, Lin Che, you abandoned me just like that. I saved your scene last time and became your male lead. Now that you're famous, you don't want me anymore. You like some other fresh meat, don't you? Duh. Lin Che was speechless. The other reporters were speechless too. They quickly took more photos of Gu Jingyu. After all, only Gu Jingyu could make people feel so relaxed when he was with Lin Che. His words were also very interesting. Lin Che said, yeah, you're old. Other than your old face, you're still like a fresh meat. Your soul and whatnot are already gone. No. The point is that you think I'm not fresh anymore. You're tired of playing with me, right? That's right. Lin Che smiled and welcomed Gu Jingyu in. Thank you for coming to visit. You're too supportive. All right, we're friends. What's there to say? Olai followed behind and didn't dare to say much. Watching the two of them walk in with their arms around each other's shoulders, he sighed. After all, there was still a gap between him and top stars like Gu Jingyu and Lin Che. Meanwhile, Gu Jingyu was still teasing Lin Che. Hey, what do you think? Is your acting as good as an old man like me? Do you think that my acting is the best? Yes. Your acting is the best. Indeed, Gu Jingyu's acting skills were unparalleled in the country at the same age. Not to mention those veteran actors, who among the new generation could have such acting skills. However, Lin Che couldn't work with Gu Jingyu all the time. After all, working with him too frequently would make him feel bored. Occasionally, he would work with Gu Jingyu in a variety of ways to give him a sense of novelty. If you beg me, I will continue to be the male lead for you next time. Lin Che was just about to speak. Behind him, a sinister voice said, Who do you think I should beg? Gu Jingyu was slightly stunned. Suddenly, he felt that this voice was a little familiar. When he turned his head, Gu Jingyu was so shocked that he fell off his chair. Second brother. Gu Jingze looked at him, his face expressionless. Lin Che hurriedly said, Hey, he's Zhou Yu now, don't get it wrong. Gu Jingyu was so surprised that he couldn't control himself. He looked at him and rubbed his eyes a few times. After confirming that he wasn't hallucinating, he suddenly exclaimed, You, why are you here? Gu Jingze simply said 2 words, filming. What? Gu Jingyu really felt that he was dreaming. Lin Che hurriedly explained, It's like this, Gu Jingze. To put it simply, Gu Jingze wanted to have some fun, so he came to try his hand at acting. His name was Zhou Yu now. Gu Jingyu was still there, looking at Gu Jingze in disbelief. Was he crazy? He actually gave up his job as a CEO and came to act. Gu Jingyu said, You're really good. Gu Jingze had already sat down and looked at Gu Jingyu. Gu Jingyu said, Then this drama of yours is going to be really popular. Say, if the news is released that Gu Jingze is making his debut in a drama. The corner of Lin Che's mouth twitched. Yeah, that would definitely be popular. However, that was also impossible. Gu Jingze said, then the showbiz industry will have nothing to do with you in the future. As your second brother, I can't steal your job. This time, it was Gu Jingyu's turn to twitch the corner of his mouth. He was really shameless. Gu Jingyu chuckled. Lin Che, what is my second brother acting in? Does he have any acting skills? At the mention of this, Lin Che felt helpless. This, that. Looking at Lin Che's expression, Gu Jingyu already understood. He laughed. I knew it. He usually doesn't even bother to make an expression when he speaks. How could he possibly know how to act? Lin Che laughed. Forget it. Anyway, it's just for fun. Let's just have some fun. The three of them sat there and chatted. To be exact, it was Lin Che and Gu Jingyu chatting, with Gu Jingza occasionally adding to their conversation. However, in the eyes of others, this newcomer had exploded again. This person was really bold. Why didn't they see that when Gu Jingyu and Lin Che were chatting, no one dared to go over casually, but he actually sat there directly? Hell, look at him. No wonder he usually ignores us. It turns out that he has a higher goal. Olai was very jealous. He also wanted to go over and suck up to him, but he didn't dare to. Everyone could only watch pitifully. They knew that Gu Jingyu had a strange temper. How would he dare to go over casually? After a while, the visiting finally ended. The few of them sent Gu Jingyu off. Gu Jingyu reached the door and scratched his head. All right, cough. Seeing Gu Jingyu's strange expression, Lin Che asked, what's wrong? Gu Jingyu said, nothing. It's just, oh, nothing. Lin Che was speechless. Hurry up and say what you want to say. What's wrong? Gu Jingyu frowned. I heard that you guys have started filming a TV series and are using a lot of newcomers. Yeah, Yu Minmin was mainly planning this. Gu Jingyu said, is Suwon going to participate in it? Huh? Lin Che said, I haven't asked about this. Yu Minmin is mainly doing it. Gu Jingyu thought for a moment. Don't you guys need a guest star in that TV series? It's not good to just have a newcomer. Duh. Lin Che suddenly understood. This Gu Jingyu. Okay, are you going to be a guest star? Gu Jingyu said, it's what I should do to help a friend. Heh, the men in the Gu family were the same. Shameless. Lin Che called Yu Minmin later and told her that Gu Jingyu was going to be a guest star. Yu Minmin was naturally very happy. Hurry and call him over. That's great. Let me see if there are any roles. If there aren't any, I'll create one for him. Chapter 1355. On Yu Minmin's side, preparation for the drama had just started. Because most of the dramas were about newcomers, the preparations were much slower than Lin Che's. The newcomers entered the group one after another. They weren't very familiar with the actors in the drama either. Because they were newcomers, they didn't have the connections to know so much information. Unlike many mature artists, their managers had already helped them find out everything, so they wouldn't panic when they came. The people who came one after another gathered together. Hey, hello. What role are you playing in the drama? I'm playing Yi Shuai. What about you? Oh, I'm playing Ouyang. Really? I've seen your scenes. We seem to have scenes together. Naturally, there were also those who weren't. Some people looked at the male lead walking over. Because it was a youth drama, the male lead was also a little fresh meat. He had acted in 1 or 2 dramas before, but he wasn't very popular. He didn't have much exposure, but he still had room to grow. Look, that's our male lead. Someone was disdainful. Sai, I don't understand. How can he be the male lead? Wasn't he just an extra in the past? You guys don't know, right? I heard that he was played by a rich woman before. With a rich woman helping him in secret. How can it be fake? Wang Fangfang heard people talking about this and couldn't help but look over curiously. She had just started studying at the Drama Academy and hadn't graduated yet. She didn't have any connections at all. Unlike Su, one who had acted in a drama before, this was her first drama. Therefore, she hadn't come into contact with anything in the circle. Therefore, she felt that it was really fresh when she heard these people talking about it. While she was listening attentively, she accidentally bumped into someone. I can't afford it. I didn't do it on purpose. You. She looked up, that's Suwon. Wang Fangfang was shocked. Sai, why are you here? Different from the anxiety and Sai just now. Seeing that it was her, Wang Fangfang immediately put on a look of disdain. Suwon, you can't be. Didn't you audition? What are you loitering around here for? The people who came here today are all from the crew. Hey, you can't be wanting to see if there are any more roles, and shamelessly ran over to ask for a role, right? Suwon came a bit late and hadn't reported in yet. She looked at Wang Fong Fong. I didn't plan on saying much. I still have something to do. Can you move aside? Wang Fong Fong said, Hey, what's with your attitude? What do you have to do? Roles are based on one's abilities. You can't get them just because you're shameless. Wang Fong Fong was proud as she looked at Suwon with disdain. Suwon was too lazy to explain and just said to her, Whatever you think, I'm leaving first. You. At this moment, someone exclaimed, Hey, have you guys heard? A big shot will be making a guest appearance in this TV series. It's a super big shot. Wang Fong Fong was immediately attracted by the gossip and didn't care about Suwon for a moment. She hurriedly went to listen. Just what kind of superstar was this? And Suwon slipped inside like a wisp of smoke. Director, I'm Suwon. Amen, very good. I think highly of you for this role. You have to work hard. Yes, director. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Although she wasn't the female lead, this was Suwon's first time receiving such a role. Amen, work hard. You're lucky this time. We have a big shot helping us. This TV series will definitely have some exposure. Suwon just heard what the people outside said and was also very curious. Director, who's coming to help? Gu Jingyu. Suwon's throat tightened. When she went out, she was muddle-headed and a bit confused. Gu Jingyu was coming to help. But why? She thought that maybe it was just a coincidence. Gu Jingyu and Lin Che were good friends. It was understandable that he came to help Lin Che's company. But something made her feel uneasy. Him coming here, it must have nothing to do with me. At this time, Wang Fong Fong saw her again. Hey, Suwon, why are you still here? Did you just come from the director's place? Huh, you really have a nerve to look for the director. Wang Fong Fong saw her expression and thought that she didn't get what she wanted again. She sneered and mocked. What? What do you look like? Did you get rejected? I told you before, but you didn't listen. Now you know how ugly it is. Tell me. Suwon slowly reacted and looked at Wang Lily. Before she could speak, she heard someone behind her say, You're Suwon, right? Yeah, I heard that we're going to act as best friends, so I came to see what my best friend looks like. Wang Fong Fong turned around and froze. The person who came was the sweet-looking female lead, Jian Yao. She was from Lin Che's studio, a newcomer that was promoted recently. What did she just say? She just said that Suwon was going to act as her best friend? The female lead's best friend, that Wang Fong Fong, was speechless. Her eyes widened like copper bells. You. Suwon glanced at Wang Fong Fong and couldn't be bothered with her. She just said to Jian Yao, Hello, it's our first time meeting. It's my first time acting such an important role. If you don't do well in the future, you must tell me. Of course not. It's actually my first time acting as the female lead too. It's both our first time. Let's take care of each other. The two of them started chatting, completely ignoring Wang Fong Fong, who was at the side. Suwon said sincerely, Since you guys were signed by Lin Che's studio, you must be very powerful people. I heard that they're very strict when they sign people. You being able to get in means that you're very capable. Jian Yao smiled sweetly. At this time, she also noticed Wang Fong Fong, who was still in a daze. Hey, hello, you are. Wang Fong Fong just realized that the female lead was talking to her. Hello. I'm acting as Su Yan. Jian Yao paused. Su Yan, is this part of our cast? Of course it was. However, she was just a minor character that acted as a student from another class. The amount of time she could appear probably wouldn't exceed tens of minutes in the entire drama. Therefore, it was naturally impossible for Jian Yao to remember everyone. In this drama, there were many roles like this. Who asked youth dramas to need too many roles? I don't remember. Sorry. Wang Fong Fong's expression darkened, still looking at Suwon in disbelief. What the hell? She was actually acting as the female lead's best friend, and at this time, someone shouted from behind, Gu Jingyu, oh my god, it can't be. Suwon's expression changed. Jian Yao, I forgot that I still have something to tell the director. I'll go over first. Oh, go do what you need to do. I'll go out and take a look. Jian Yao looked outside excitedly. Gu Jingyu was here. She didn't want to say anything else and just wanted to go out and see Gu Jingyu. Chapter 1356. But Suwon just wanted to run. Outside, everyone came to greet Gu Jingyu. Gu Jingyu didn't say anything, but he was quite friendly to the crew. He smiled faintly at everyone. Although he was distant, everyone was satisfied. However, Gu Jingyu looked around. He didn't see that familiar figure. His gaze darkened, and he said, "This is my first time acting. Everyone, let's go to dinner tonight. I'll treat." Wow, Gu Jingyu is too generous. Thank you, Jingyu. You're the best. Amen. So you can't not go. Not a single one can be missing. Gu Jingyu smiled, seemingly implying something. Of course. Who can't go when Jingyu is treating? Of course. It's everyone's honor. Well, to definitely go. Who can't go? Some people might not go. Jian Yao turned around, but didn't find Suwon. Then she saw Suwon in a daze. Suwon, Gu Jingyu is treating tonight. Hurry up and pack up. Why didn't you go? Gu Jingyu is here. You didn't see the scene. Suwon turned around. I didn't notice. What a pity. Hurry up and change. We should go. I won't go. I have things to do at home. Suwon avoided her gaze. How can you not go? You have to go. Gu Jingyu said that not a single one can be missing. If you miss out, do you still want to mingle in the future? Plus, this is our crew's first dinner together. If you don't go, then you're not fitting in. But Suwon really didn't want to go. Seeing that Suwon was still unwilling, Jian Yao shook her head. Look at you. How do you mingle? Hasn't Starlight done any training for artists? You have to go, idiot. She thought that Suwon was too dumb. Everyone else wanted to get close to Gu Jingyu, but she said that she wouldn't go. Too naive. However, people would think that she was naive if she didn't want to get close to him. Therefore, Jian Yao quickly educated her. Suwon was helpless. I'm just a small character in Starlight. All right then, Starlight is really too harsh on its artists. You've hired so many people, but not a single one of them is responsible for debuting. Look at Lin Che. Although it wasn't easy to get in, every single trainee that came in is very responsible. Basically, all of them are able to debut. There are only a few that break the rules and get kicked out. Yeah, but back then, I was very happy when someone signed me. So, I immediately signed the contract. Yeah, we're just small fries. Sigh. When we can be as strong as Gu Jingyu, then we won't have to be afraid of anything. Mentioning Gu Jingyu, Suwon's heart palpitated again. At this moment, Jian Yao had already pulled him out. Sigh, we cannot go. Let's go. The group of people, including the unwilling Suwon, all arrived at the place to eat. The place was great. Gu Jingyu was indeed generous. Jian Yao went in and pulled Suwon to the front. Behind her, she could see that Wang Fangfang had arrived as well. Wang Fangfang looked at her hatefully and bit her lower lip. She was so unwilling and unwilling. How was that possible? Suwon was actually the one acting as Jian Yao's best friend. Although her role wasn't the most important, the role that followed the female lead would always attract attention and would appear throughout the entire drama. How could Suwon get such an important role? She was so jealous. Especially now, because she was the main character, she even sat at the front with Jian Yao. As for Wang Fangfang, she could only sit far away, not daring to go to the front. After a while, Gu Jingyu arrived. Gu Jingyu glanced over and finally saw Suwon. She was still sitting at the front. His gaze revealed the fierceness of looking at his prey. His cunning and black-bellied eyes flashed. You still want to hide? Let's see how you're going to hide from me for the entire drama. As for Suwon, she seemed to feel the predatory nature in his gaze. Her heart trembled, and she immediately felt uneasy. Why? Why was he looking at her like this? She lowered her head and listened to Gu Jingyu say to everyone, "You'll have to work hard in the future. Let's be sweet today. Eat more and order whatever you want. I'll pay for the money." Thank you, Senior Jingyu. Senior Jingyu, you're so handsome. Everyone cheered in disgust. They felt that they were very lucky to have Gu Jingyu as a guest star. It was really great. As for Suwon, she always felt that the pair of falcon-like eyes were always faintly projected onto her body. How could she have any appetite in an instant? Jian Yao was still casually chatting with others. As a talkative person, she got to know a lot of friends as soon as she arrived. But because of Gu Jingyu's existence, Su-won didn't dare to raise her head. Silently, Su-won left. Very quickly, she arrived at the washroom. She was still washing her hands when she felt someone open the washroom door. She froze and looked up. When she saw the familiar figure that made people's hearts palpitate, her entire body stiffened. Resistance came from the bottom of her heart. "You, Gu Jingyu, what are you doing?" "This is the women's washroom." His hand slowly locked the door behind him. His gaze was aggressive as he looked at the woman who was dodging in front of him. "I know. Then why did you come in? What else? Follow me to the men's washroom?" "No." Su-won retreated. "Gu Jingyu, get out of the way. Why did you come in? What do you think?" Gu Jingyu moved closer and closer. Su-won was already scared out of her wits, especially when she saw his determined gaze. "Gu Jingyu, you can't touch me. You. So what if I'm like this? Don't you feel good when I'm like this? You." In an instant, he easily pushed her against the wall and lowered his head to look at her. "No, you don't have the right to refuse here." As he said this, Gu Jingyu's domineering lips landed and directly bit her. Chapter 1357. It's Gu Jingyu. Go ahead and scream. Scream until the people outside come and watch. Gu Jingyu said evilly in her ear. A burst of panic. Su-won hurriedly covered her mouth. This was a public place. She was bullied by him and almost forgot. Lowering his voice, all the curses seemed to have turned into helpless gasps. All of a sudden, the suppressed voice made Gu Jingyu unable to control himself. The dispirited voice spread in this narrow space. Until there was a movement outside. "What's going on? Why can't the door open?" This voice was a bit familiar. Wang Fong. Su-won heard it all at once, and her heart jumped to her throat. She quickly turned her head and looked at Gu Jingyu pleadingly. It has to be said that this gaze was too lethal. Gu Jingyu's heart unconsciously softened. However, just halfway through, she took it back at this time, it was too torturous. Gu Jingyu secretly cursed. The people outside should be the people of this TV series. No matter who it was, this person was dead. She would definitely be kicked out of this crew immediately. They actually chose this time to disturb her. He was agitated, but did not let go of Su-won. Su-won was really scared, especially when she heard the voice outside, still continuing. "Look, is this bathroom broken? Why can't I open it? I don't know. Call the administrator to take a look." Then call the administrator. The administrator should have the key to open it. Su-won's heart tightened. "Gu Jingyu, let go of me. Hurry. Okay, wait for me." Gu Jingyu did not let go, but the impact became more violent. Ah. Su-won felt like she was about to be broken by him, but she had to tightly cover her mouth to not let herself scream. Every time, it was as if she was hit in the depths of her soul. The electric current was constantly flickering. After continuously hitting for who knows how many times, he finally relaxed. However, he still stayed in her body, pressing her shoulders, unwilling to retreat. He was completely exhausted. Su-won felt that she was exhausted, more tired than when she was with him in the past. At this time, there was another sound outside. Su-won suddenly reacted and quickly pushed him away. Gu Jingyu was very satisfied at this moment, so he didn't say anything and listened to the sounds outside. The door banged, and after a while, there was the sound of a key. With a crash, the door finally opened. "What's going on? Someone must have locked it from the inside." A few people came in at once, and Wang Fong saw Su-won inside at a glance. "Su-won, what are you doing inside? Why did you lock the door?" Su-won said, "I don't know. I locked it." Wang Fong looked at her suspiciously. Then, she looked around and didn't seem to find anything amiss. But that gaze was definitely questioning. Just now, she saw Su-won leave, so she followed her out. Now, she was in the washroom with the door locked from the inside. It was even more doubtful. However, she couldn't find anything. Wang Fong could only look at her and say sarcastically, "Oh, if I didn't know better, I would have thought that you were doing something shameful inside." Su-won didn't say anything. Although her heart thumped, she was still an actress after all. Her face was still expressionless as she walked out from the side. Wang Fong could only give up. She found a washroom and walked in. But no one noticed that the door of the washroom on the other side was tightly shut. A while later, Wang Fangfang left the washroom and went outside. Outside, Gu Jingyu walked over with an indifferent look on his face. Wow, she saw Gu Jingyu so close. She quickly wanted to follow him, but was a bit confused. She looked at Gu Jingyu's expression. It seemed different from just now. Before, she felt that he was thinking about something. But now he looked satisfied. And it was such a coincidence that he was also here. Strange, strange. After Su Wan went back, she felt that she didn't even want to act in this TV series anymore. What was Gu Jingyu thinking? Why did he treat her like this? She didn't know and didn't dare to think about it. And over there, after Lin Che's TV series finished filming in some studios, they were going to move to other places to continue filming. The rest of the equipment in the production team had already been moved over. The staff also arrived one after another. When they went to other places, they would all be staying in the same hotel. Lin Che first looked around and booked 2 different rooms for himself and Gu Jingzi. After all, they had to avoid arousing suspicion in the production team. Otherwise, there would be all kinds of nonsense. Gu Jingzi was very cooperative. He took the same flight as Lin Che. He even put down his private plane for the time being. Lin Che followed behind and pushed his luggage, saying, "This plane is a bit uncomfortable. Although it's a first-class seat, it's definitely not as comfortable as your plane." Gu Jingyu looked at her faintly. "It's okay. Just treat it as experiencing life." Duh. "Okay. Actually, it was really experiencing life." Lin Che said, "I booked a suite for you in the hotel room. It's not bad. Really, we all have suites, but we don't have that much money for a presidential suite." Gu Jingzi looked at her and smiled mysteriously. A sly look flashed across his eyes. "It's okay. You can book any room." "Huh? Whatever. I might not stay there anyway." "Huh? What did he mean? He wasn't staying here? Was he going to stay somewhere else?" "Don't. Actually, the suite is pretty good and clean. Didn't you say that you wanted to experience life?" Seeing that Gu Jingzi didn't want to stay there, she hurriedly said. Gu Jingzi moved closer to her and whispered softly, "I'll stay with you." Lin Che was stunned. Then he reacted. So that was what he meant. Lin Che smiled ambiguously and said with a red face, "No, people will see us. It's okay. You can tell them that you're a woman and have physiological needs too." Annoying. What was he talking about? Gu Jingzi smiled and continued on his way. Many of the crew members had already arrived at the hotel. But there were also people discussing that Zhou Yu, a small character, had actually booked such a high-end suite for him. It was the same suite as the male and female leads. Well, why did he have to do that? However, everyone was already used to Zhou Yu's special status in the crew. They just couldn't help but grumble a little. But that Zhou Yu is really handsome. Could it be that Lin Che has fallen for him? Even if it's Lin Che, he's still a woman. It's normal for women to like handsome men. Some of the actors really had such doubts. I think so too. Every time Lin Che looks at him, the way he looks at him is different. Zhou Yu is really lucky. Whoever becomes a couple with Lin Che won't have to worry about exposure. Chapter 1358. Exactly. Look at Zhou Yu. He's popular too. But is there something fishy going on between them? I'm joking. Who knows? Filming in other places had to show progress. Otherwise, the cost of accommodation would be much higher every day. Lin Che had finished a busy day of filming and was resting in his room. He wanted to take a good rest and take a leak. Just then, there was a knock on the door. "Who is it?" Lin Che yelled. There was no reply. 2 knocks. Lin Che walked over and opened the door. She saw Gu Jingzi standing at the door. She was stunned. It wasn't midnight yet, and there might be people walking outside. She hurriedly pulled Gu Jingzi into the room and slammed the door. She said, "Why are you here at this time?" He said, "Why? There are people outside. When they saw you, I told them I'm here to play by the rules." "Does CEO need to play by the rules?" She said, "You. Come on, producer. Play by the rules," Gu Jingzi said as he took off his coat. His t-shirt was sticking to his chest. It made one's blood boil. You're not playing?" He smiled and took off his other coat. Lin Che swallowed hard. If he didn't play by the rules now, when would he play by the rules? On the other side, we got it. Zhou Yu went into Lin Che's room and didn't leave. Someone from Xinghui contacted Liang Shan. Really? Do you have any pictures? Well, we only have pictures of him going in. We can't take pictures from inside. How can we believe it without concrete evidence? They might say they were talking about the script inside. Then, what should we do? Keep watching. Liang Shan snorted. It seemed that Lin Che really had something going on with the newcomer. They were in the same room. But Lin Che's child couldn't possibly be a newcomer. She must have a powerful backer behind her. Liang Shan mumbled. Lin Che really knows how to enjoy life. He's giving birth to a rich man's child, and then he's dating a small-time actor. She wondered what her rich sugar daddy would think if he found out that she had a mistress. Liang Shan was looking forward to it. They were going to film early in the morning. Lin Che kicked Gu Jing's out early. She felt uncomfortable and had to be careful not to leave any marks. Gu Jingzhou walked up to her and kissed her sweetly, which made her feel very satisfied. If she could be with him while filming, then no matter how hard it was, it wouldn't be hard at all. She cherished the chance to be with him. Outside, they had been filming for a long time, and Gu Jingzhou finally knew how to say his lines. Although he was still you, he had to say it. For him, she had put in a lot of effort and made a lot of preparations. Lin Che comforted the director a lot. The director knew that every time he watched the scene, Gu Jingzhou standing there looked really good. Even if he was just a background, he added color to the entire scene. It definitely didn't look like he was in the background. It was a pity that he didn't know how to act. Otherwise, even if he had some acting skills, he would definitely be famous. The director thought it was a good idea to let him be in the background. Everyone looked at Zhou Yu every day and felt that he was really different from the others. He just sat there and looked at his tablet. They didn't know what he was looking at. Moreover, from every angle, he was so handsome and perfect. What a pity. He's Lin Che's, someone said sourly. Lin Che's what? He's Lin Che's man. Didn't you see him? He's so close. I think he's Lin Che's toy boy. Really, I'm just joking. They're so close. Those who don't know might think they're having an affair. It doesn't matter even if there's something going on. Lin Che has to find a rich man to marry. Nowadays, female celebrities all find a big boss to marry after they become popular. She can't just find a newbie to marry. What? Do you want to compete with Lin Che if they're having an affair? I didn't say that. Although she said that, when she turned around, she didn't think that way. The one who spoke was a character who had some say in the cast. She was playing a villain, and her real name was Xiao Qiangwei. She was originally a C-list celebrity, and after so many years, other than the 2 years when she first debuted, she didn't really become popular. But she was still a minor celebrity. Xiao Qiangwei looked at Zhou Yu. She liked him very much. Of course, she didn't like him that much. She had been married for a few years, but her relationship with her husband wasn't that close. Her husband was a little playboy and had a few lovers outside. She pretended not to know and found other men outside. She knew that her husband understood, but he didn't care about her. It was no different from playing on their own. But if there was something, they would still go out together and act like a good couple. Therefore, she only wanted to sleep with this newcomer. On the first night, she went to knock on the door, but no one answered. She thought it was strange. Could it be that he wasn't there? But when she asked the front desk, he didn't seem to have left the hotel. Suddenly, she thought that could he be at Lin Che's place? The look in her eyes changed. These people's guesses might really be right. The next day, Xiao Qiangwei went over early. This time, he was really there. Gu Jingzhou opened the door and saw an unfamiliar woman. She had big wavy curls and was wearing a sexy nightgown. She was holding some fruits in her hands. Hey, seeing that you're working so hard, I got you some fruits. You have to work hard tomorrow. Gu Jingzhou frowned slightly. Who are you? Xiao Qiangwei was stunned after slapping her face with hyaluronic acid. Even if she wasn't that famous, it shouldn't be to the extent that a crew wouldn't know who she was. She was Xiao Qiangwei. Even though she wasn't famous, almost everyone on the streets knew her. She would occasionally appear on the news and get a page. And now he actually asked her who she was? Was he doing it on purpose? She froze for a moment and said, Oh, you're a newcomer and probably don't know much about the industry. I'm Xiao Qiangwei. Gu Jingzhen naturally didn't know who she was. He just nodded slightly and said, I don't eat fruits. Thank you. What? He rejected her just like that? Seeing that he was actually going to close the door, Xiao Qiangwei blocked the door with her whole body. Hey, you and Lin Che. Hearing Lin Che's name, he stopped. What? We all know about you and Lin Che. She smiled. Chapter 1359. Gu Jingze raised his eyebrows. Oh, you know everything. What do you know? She raised her eyebrows. Of course we know. You and Lin Che have already slept together. Also, you weren't in your room last night. Did you go to her place? Gu Jingze's lips curved into a smile. You guys sure know a lot. Of course I know. Lin Che. Everyone wants to be close to him, Xiao Qiangwei said confidently. Plus, it's true that she's a superstar. She's so capable and rich. If you're with her, we'll understand. Gu Jingze smiled calmly as he stood there and looked at Xiao Qiangwei. Since when did he, Gu Jingze, need a wife to support him? However, he wasn't angry. Thinking about how he relied on his wife to live, he felt that it was quite interesting. Xiao Qiangwei looked at Gu Jingze. She felt that he seemed to be maintaining a mesmerizing gaze. The more she looked at him, the more she liked him. From afar, he was good-looking. Up close, he was mesmerizing. No wonder Lin Che couldn't control himself. He was such a fair person, yet he had made so many exceptions for him. Xiao Qiangwei said, but you've been serving her every day. Are you sick of it? Gu Jingze's gaze fell. He looked at her coldly and didn't say a word. He seemed to be waiting for her to continue. Xiao Qiangwei said, do you want a change of taste? Gu Jingze continued to look at her. Xiao Qiangwei stroked her hair coquettishly. Her eyes were misty as she looked at him, hinting at him. At this moment, Gu Jingze suddenly slammed the door. Ouch! Xiao Qiangwei's nose hit the door. She cried out in pain. You, Zhou Yu, how dare you do this? I gave you face, but you don't want it. I'm also a person of status, okay? How dare you? Xiao Qiangwei scolded. Then, she saw someone walk past her. She rubbed her nose and walked away while cursing. However, sometimes the filming crew couldn't hide things. The next day, the news spread. A lot of people knew that Xiao Qiangwei tried to hook up with a newcomer, but was rejected. She cursed at the door for a long time before leaving. Most people in the circle knew about Xiao Qiangwei. The husband and wife had been sleeping in the same bed for a long time, but they were living happily. After all, they could just hook up outside and they did not have to take responsibility. Her husband was quite rich, and he would not divorce for the sake of his reputation. Xiao Qiangwei had also succeeded time and time again in the past. This time, she had actually fallen into the hands of a newcomer. It was really interesting. Looking at Xiao Qiangwei walking past, everyone could not help but want to laugh. Look, it was her yesterday. We all heard her shouting in the hallway. Didn't you just ruin a flower for no reason? You actually got rejected this time. But since they already have Lin Che, they definitely won't want her anymore. Lin Che is so popular, they wouldn't let him go if they caught him. How would he dare to flirt with another artist on set? Furthermore, Xiao Qiangwei isn't as good-looking as Lin Che. Really, she was rejected, wasn't she? That's so embarrassing. Let's see if she still wants to go there in the future. Hearing everyone's mocking laughter, Xiao Qiangwei was so angry that she could die. And Lin Che, naturally, had already heard the news. She listened to what the people below were saying, including the rumors from the outsiders. She shook her head and thought to herself, this Gu Jingze really can attract attention wherever he goes. Even if he doesn't reveal that he's that high and mighty Gu Jingze, there are still so many people who flock to him like a flock of ducks because his looks are really too attractive. At this moment, Gu Jingze entered. Lin Che looked at Gu Jingze and smiled. You're really a celebrity on set now. Gu Jingze frowned. Why? Lin Che walked over and put her face in front of his. Why? Don't you know that the matter between you and Xiao Qiangwei has already spread like wildfire? Gu Jingze looked at her. Does this always happen on set? That would be too dangerous on set. Thinking about how a woman would go to a man's room, he wondered if the man would go to a woman's room too. Would anyone run over to look for Lin Che? Lin Che thought for a moment and said, I really haven't heard of it. There might have been rumors in the past, but I've never seen it. Has no one knocked on your door? Gu Jingzi pressed against her and asked. Lin Che sighed, looking very pitiful. Yeah, no one. I'm still not charming enough. His dangerous gaze moved closer. So what do you want? Lin Che hurriedly pushed his face away. You're so annoying. I was just joking, but I really haven't seen it before. Maybe it's because I don't care about anything else other than filming. Anyway, I've never heard of such a thing. Gu Jingzi frowned. All right, of course he knew that she didn't have such a thing. Otherwise, the people below would have already reported it to him. Lin Che said, but I didn't expect Xiao Qiangwei to be so daring. She knows that you're my woman, but she still dares to seduce you. She's really... Why do these words sound so wrong? What did he mean by seducing him despite knowing that he was her woman? Wasn't the roles reversed? Outside, Olai felt even more miserable as he listened to the gossip. It couldn't be. Xiao Qiangwei went to seduce the newcomer, Zhou Yu. She actually didn't seduce him first. Why did he feel that, as the male lead, he wasn't even as interesting as Zhou Yu? Did these women take him seriously at all? But then again, that didn't seem right. Was he in despair because that married third-rate woman, Xiao Qiangwei, didn't seduce him? It was all this Zhou Yu's fault, messing up the entire production team's rhythm. Today, they were filming a scene that required them to go into the water. This kind of scene was very tiring. Many artists didn't like to do it themselves, so there were always many stunt doubles on set. Actually, there's a reason why artists didn't like to do it themselves. Some artists were physically weak. If they were to soak in the water for a day, they would fall sick. If it was delayed for a few more days, the production team might as well spend money to find a stunt double. But Lin Che almost never used a stunt double. Most of his scenes were done personally. Her production team was very open-minded. If you felt that you couldn't do it yourself, you could find a stunt double. But since Lin Che didn't find a stunt double, the others were embarrassed not to do it themselves. Hence, everyone was dejected today. But at this moment, Gu Jingzi came out. The group of women all had looks of anticipation on their faces. Zhou Yu's going into the water in a while. That's great. I wonder if he has such a pretty face and a good figure. Definitely. He's so tall and skinny. Hee, maybe he's a white chicken. Olai was still unconvinced. The women looked at him and said, Humph, you're just jealous. Olai was furious. He was the male lead. In other production teams, didn't the women revolve around the male lead? Why here they were all crazy when they saw a newcomer? This wasn't fair. Chapter 1360. At this time, under everyone's anticipation, Gu Jingzi came out. Wow, muscles. Wow, he looks skinny with clothes on, but muscular without. He's so handsome. Olai also immediately turned his head. He saw the man walking out from under the sun. His tan skin glowed faintly, and his abs were very obvious. He was only wearing clothes on the lower half of his body. At this moment, he was standing there with his hands caressing his waist casually. He was really too stylish. Olai couldn't accept it, but it must be fake. Otherwise, how could someone be so stylish on one side, handsome on the other, and have such a beautiful face on the other? How could there be such a perfect person in the world? When Lin Che came out, he saw a girl from the crew staring at Gu Jingzi's chest. No way, there were men staring at him too. Although Lin Che watched it often, he still felt that it looked good when he saw it now. However, he wasn't a public figure. Why did he have to show it to so many people? No, she was too jealous. This Gu Jingzi, if she had known earlier, she wouldn't have given him a scene where his body was exposed. However, the director said that Gu Jingzi's acting skills weren't good enough, so he had to show his body. Although Lin Che wasn't happy about her husband showing his body to others, because of Gu Jingzi, she had made too many exceptions and made the director endure too much. She had to repay him no matter what Lin Che thought to herself. She was giving up something she loved. All right, it's time to shoot. Everyone, don't just stand there, the assistant director called out. Everyone reluctantly looked away from Gu Jingzi's handsome muscles. Finally, the shoot began. Lin Che went into the water first. Gu Jingze was still waiting by the shore, watching Lin Che soak in the water. First, he did the underwater movements, then the surface movements. They were filmed separately and then edited. However, he had to stay in the water the entire time. Gu Jingze narrowed his eyes and couldn't help but feel a sense of heartache. No matter how many people were looking at him, Gu Jingze only stared at Lin Che. All of a sudden, many people noticed that his eyes were filled with love, which made people's hearts skip a beat. Lin Che seemed to feel a gaze fixated on him, so he raised his head and looked over. When his eyes met Gu Jingze's familiar gaze, Lin Che's heart skipped a beat. He felt warm in his heart. At the same time, it was so moving. He took another look at her figure. Sigh, really. No wonder those people couldn't stop looking at her. No matter how they looked at her, she was beautiful. However, Lin Che didn't notice that while he was distracted. Aya, Lin Che, step properly. The martial arts director at the front shouted. Lin Che came back to his senses and remembered that he was still filming. Zheng Kai was in a canoe. All of a sudden, he stepped on empty air. Ah! Lin Che only had time to scream before he fell into the water. All of a sudden, everyone panicked. Lin Che had fallen into the water. If something went wrong, no one could afford to pay for it. Aya, hurry up and save him. Lin Che, Sister Che. Many people rushed forward at once. But at this moment, get out of my way. A voice suddenly rang in their ears. Then he saw that Gu Jingze, who had been standing in the distance, had flown over without him noticing. Before anyone could react, he had already jumped into the water. Wow, so handsome. The hero saved the damsel in distress, someone exclaimed. Gu Jingze jumped into the water and carried Lin Che out after a while. Actually, Lin Che was fine. She just fell into the water and was dumbfounded. She came to her senses and hugged Gu Jingze's neck. She was wet all over. She was sticking to him and looking at him. Even if she really fell into the water, there were so many people in the crew. Someone would definitely come to save her immediately. However, Gu Jingze was faster than everyone else. All of a sudden, the rest of the crew rushed over. Sister Che, are you okay? Quick, the blanket is here. The clothes are here. Go and call the doctor. At this moment, Gu Jingze said, all right, everyone go down. I'll do it. Everyone was stunned. Zhou was obviously a newcomer. But at this moment, when they looked at him and heard his words, they couldn't help but follow him. They didn't dare to disobey him. Was it because his gaze was too scary? Before anyone could react, Gu Jingze had already carried Lin Che into the water. He took off Lin Che's clothes and covered her with a blanket. Lin Che said helplessly, all right, I'm fine. It's okay. I still have to continue filming. Gu Jingze's eyes were extremely gloomy. What are you filming for? You just fell into the water. Lin Che rubbed her forehead. It was just an accident. Actually, I'll be fine. The water wasn't very deep, and there were so many people. Don't worry. Don't worry? How could that be? Gu Jingze pulled her. What do you mean, don't worry? You already fell into the water. Lin Che blushed. It's okay. Accidents like this don't usually happen. I wasn't serious just now. Gu Jingze's tone was still very serious. Then how could there be an accident just now? Lin Che lowered her head and said in a surprisingly soft voice, it's because you were standing there without any clothes on. Her voice became softer and softer. However, Gu Jingze's expression suddenly became less serious. He lowered his head and looked at Lin Che. She smiled, and then her face became serious again. How could she be so stupid? That won't do. Gu Jingze pulled her up. It's not like you haven't seen how I look without clothes on. Lin Che looked at him with a smile and reached out to touch his face. But it's different every time. How is it different? Could it be that my body can change? No, he's different every time. Gu Jingze laughed again and looked down at her. Are you purposely flattering me again? How is that possible? However, Gu Jingze didn't care what she was doing. Because of what she said just now, he couldn't help but want to kiss her. He lowered his head and kissed her lightly. She raised her head, wrapped in the blanket, and kissed him back sweetly. The two of them kissed intimately. However, because of the chaos just now, they didn't check in advance when they entered the lounge. The scene was unknowingly captured by a camera in the dark. The expressions of the two of them were very clear. On the other side, The person who was recording all of this had a smug smile on his face. Huh, I still managed to capture it in the end. I told you that as long as there's a camera, there's no way I can't get it. Chapter 1361. Looking at the two of them being affectionate and taking a few photos back and forth, it was really tiresome. Liang Shan smiled and said, "Let's see how you're going to escape this time." The next day, he sold the news to a paparazzi organization. He sent some photos and videos over, and they were extremely interested. Lin Che's private photos. Lin Che's reputation had always been good. Although there were scandals, they were all positive, and there was nothing else. Now, they actually found out that she had a child and was fooling around with a newcomer in the production team. This was definitely big news that could drown the entertainment industry. Of course, the paparazzi organization didn't rely on exposure to earn money. When they saw the photos, they felt that it was better to contact Lin Che first. Yu Min immediately received the news. The paparazzi organization said, "We have Lin Che's information here. How about it? Are you guys interested?" This paparazzi organization was the biggest paparazzi organization in the entire entertainment industry. It had only been established for a few years, but it was doing very well. Recently, many big news had been exposed by them. This was because they used the method of casting a wide net and focusing on breaking through. All of the artists would first scout the area, and if they heard any news in the industry, they would immediately focus on that artist and follow them for almost 24 hours a day. Some artists even followed them for a month, patiently following them. No matter what, there would always be some dirt on them. After all, artists were still human and made mistakes. They also had secrets that they did not want others to know about. Although they had already sold a lot of their privacy in this industry, some artists like Lin Che prefer to use their own works to speak for themselves and not use their privacy to gain attention. She rarely created scandals. Although she would go out to promote and participate in programs, it was all proper promotions. She wouldn't create scandals for publicity. But some fans might say, since you're a celebrity, you make use of your exposure to earn money. Since you've earned our money, can't you let us know some of your privacy? Who asked you to choose this industry? However, Lin Che thought about it. In this industry, the entertainment industry was first and foremost. People were born to act. Their job was to keep acting, not to sell their own secrets. Some artists might no longer think that acting was their number one priority, but she still insisted that their work came first. Having good work was the number one reason why the audience liked them, not because they had a variety of private lives. Yu Min frowned when he heard their words. He wondered what kind of information about Lin Che would be leaked. Logically speaking, she didn't have any dirt on her. She was only friends with men outside and didn't have any intimate contact with any of them. She didn't smoke, but she did drink occasionally. However, she had been filming recently, so she probably didn't get drunk. She didn't take drugs, and she didn't go out to dinner. Gu Jingze was not going to kill anyone. Moreover, she had Gu Jingze by her side. Did she need to cheat on him? Yu Min didn't even think about it, and said directly, "Go ahead and expose it. If there's any dirt on me, it's my loss." Yu Min didn't have a good impression of them, so she hung up the phone. The paparazzi became gloomy. What did she mean? She didn't care anymore? We don't even know what the dirt is, and you rejected her directly. Are you too confident in Lin Che? Don't tell me that Lin Che did it himself? Their company doesn't even know about it, right? I don't think so. The paparazzi discussed for a while and said, since it's like this, let's expose a small one first and let her take a look. If she wants to buy it, we'll ask for a lot of money. What's wrong with you? Who did you get photographed kissing? Quick, look at the news. The nosy Li Mingyu was the first to receive the news. What is it? Chapter 1362. No, don't tell me you don't know about it. The headlines say that you were caught kissing a man, and he's a newcomer. Sigh, you would rather have a newcomer than me. What do you mean by that? Lin Che had a bad feeling. She quickly hung up the phone. Then she picked up her phone to look at the headlines. When she saw the news in the headlines, she was shocked. Damn, what was this? Newcomer? It was Gu Jingze. She and Gu Jingze had been photographed. She touched her forehead as she looked at the photo. It was a side profile, but those who knew him would be able to tell that it was Gu Jingze. Li Mingyu didn't know what was wrong with his eyes. He actually couldn't recognize it. Lin Che turned around and saw that Gu Jingze was already walking over. Lin Che said, "What should we do now? You've been exposed." Gu Jingze lowered his head and looked at Lin Che again. "If you care, I can get someone to keep the news under wraps. But even if we keep it under wraps, my face has already been seen. Sooner or later, people will find out that it's me." Lin Che looked at him. "Although there will be a lot of trouble if it's exposed, I'm more worried about whether you'll be in trouble." Gu Jingze was not an ordinary person. If people found out about their relationship, who knew what would happen to him? Gu Jingze held Lin Che's hand and pulled the gloomy Lin Che into his arms. He looked at her and said, "For so many years, I've been hiding from the media and people because I was worried about my physical and mental health. But now, I'm no longer the head of the Gu family. I'm no longer worried about the family's mission. I only need to worry about ourselves. Plus, we don't know if it's safer to hide and develop in the dark, or if it's safer to appear in front of the public and let everyone know who I am." Lin Che looked at him. "Really?" Gu Jingze nodded. "Since there's no way to hide it, I might as well admit it. I also want the whole world to know that you're my wife, so that no one can covet you." He lowered his head and pressed his forehead against hers, murmuring affectionately. Lin Che's heart slowly relaxed. She thought about how everyone knew that she and Gu Jingze were together. Their happiness was witnessed by everyone. That was also a very blissful thing. She looked at him and thought about how many tycoons like him had already faced the media. He would even appear in front of the public, appear on programs, participate in interviews, and let people know about his experiences and thoughts. He had become a celebrity businessman. Perhaps it was because of the entertainment era, more people found that there might be more business opportunities this way. Moreover, they didn't care so much about their lives being watched by others. It seemed that they were more relaxed. Lin Che thought that perhaps they could also give it a try. Lin Che nodded at Gu Jingze and gently wrapped his arms around his neck. "I also hope that everyone knows that you are my husband." She wanted to leave her mark so that everyone would know that Gu Jingze belonged to her and that no one could covet him. The two of them smiled at each other and slowly leaned against each other. Since she had decided not to care about them, she did not respond to this news. On the other side, Li Mingyu saw that she had hung up and immediately called again. Lin Che picked up the phone slowly and said, "What are you doing? Why did you hang up in such a hurry?" "You have a guilty conscience," Lin Che said. "You are a CEO. Why you still pay attention to these gossips? The news just hit the headlines, and you saw it already. Are you always looking at gossip? What do you know? I'm concerned about current affairs. I know all the news so that I can follow the trend and gain the initiative." "Huh, you haven't said what exactly is going on. Why you care so much? Go and care about other current affairs." Lin Che hung up again. This time, seeing that Li Mingyu was calling again, he was too lazy to answer. The news was left there to ferment, and no one responded. Lin Che's first Weibo post blew up. Many fans asked below, "Who is that? We believe in Lin Che. Lin Che, come out and say something. Is what they said true? Lin Che, don't tell me that you really like a newcomer in the crew. Who is that? Don't be used. We are so worried. Isn't nobody? Is he using you?" Lin Che, hurry up and reply. Seeing that everyone was making wild guesses, Lin Che felt helpless. But he didn't know what to say. Yu Min Min called. "Since that family has sent out this photo, there must be other photos. Let's see what they have first and ask them to send them out before we respond. Otherwise, if we say something wrong, we will be slapping ourselves in the face. Yeah, now that they dare to provoke me, I want to see them slap themselves in the face. Haha, they definitely don't know who they have offended. Gu Jingze won't destroy the paparazzi, will he? He won't. I don't think Gu Jingze is that angry. Yes. Was it you and him who exposed it? If it was you and someone else, the paparazzi would really be destroyed." Lin Che thought that was true. Lin Che knew what Yu Min Min was talking about. At the start, when the paparazzi organization had just appeared, everyone didn't know how they operated. So, when they first came out, they were busy with PR and explaining. But later on, they realized that they had something else in their hands. They would wait for you to finish explaining and then release something to slap your face. After a few times, they used the same method and everyone understood. Later on, when something happened again, they didn't rush to come out and do PR. They would do it in secret first. Then, when they released all the information and were sure that they had nothing else to release, they would come out and explain. After doing that, things became much better. Hence, the battle between celebrities and paparazzi slowly developed. Everyone learned from each other, fought with each other, slowly summed up their experiences, and escalated the battle. Lin Che didn't say anything else. He just watched as they scrolled through the headlines. Seeing that Lin Che didn't respond, the other party knew that Lin Che didn't want to spend money at all. They didn't expect the great Lin Che to be so stingy. They immediately started with Plan B, which was to attract advertising and add to the next piece of news. When the businessmen saw the traffic that Lin Che's news brought, they immediately rushed forward and spent a lot of money to sponsor it. They were very happy. Soon, the next piece of news was released. Lin Che and the newcomer, Zhou, you were kissing in the room. That posture, that lingering look, that action, that it was really embarrassing to watch. A video was posted online just like that. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.